Bombshell Behavior. I'm one of your co-hosts, Samaya Kerwin.
And I'm Jordan Mobley.
And this week, we're going to be getting into Casa Amor week, y'all. We have made it halfway through the show, and we are super excited to get into all of the tea for the week. It has been a wild week. We have so many opinions about um, After Sun as well as the week. So, yeah, we're ready to just hop right in.
Yeah, this week. So I know I was excited going into Casa More week, and usually I never am. But this week reminded me exactly why I hate Casa More. Because on honestly on Sunday it was fun, but then it just got to be too much. But I we'll get into it. I want to start with After Sun because I have lots and lots of thoughts about After
Yes,
Sun from
yes,
last week. First of all, I didn't think After Sun would get me heated and activated, but here we are.
same.
I don't even want to get into the whole Gabrielle of it all because he didn't really say too much. He was very respectful and nice. And I actually kind of feel bad that he was dumped just like a
I
tad bit.
know, just a
Just
little
a
bit.
tad.
He
Yeah.
could have stayed for Casa, and I actually wouldn't have been upset
Yeah, I wouldn't have cared if he stayed for Casa because, yes, I had a problem with the way he was moving at certain times, but I don't think he was the worst guy that there was on
at
the
all.
show. And he seemed I don't know. It was just
He
like
seemed
he
like true to
seemed
himself, but
he was definitely true to himself. And he didn't seem like he was that upset about the decision. Like it is what it is at this point, you know?
right, like he
So
just he just left it like he spoke highly of everyone, like didn't speak badly about anyone when he was on After Sun. And
yeah,
even though it seemed like obviously for him, Corbin and Kinsey like weren't the most compatible, but like he still didn't throw shade, you know? So I thought that was nice.
right. I can't say the same for Miss Soul on After Sun. I was actually so taken aback by some of the comments that she made on After Sun. So, for instance, she had a lot to say about a lot of people.
Yeah.
She called Casey a wuss, basically. She
Yeah.
said that Anaya and Melanie were kind of giving Mean Girls a little bit and that she didn't like them. She
Right.
basically said that Bryce and Trinity were attracted to each other, and if Bryce had the option, he would move, and he thought Kata was prettier than Trinity, which, mind you, came
Yeah.
out of left field because from what we saw, y'all, you didn't have that many conversations with Bryce. So she was
Right.
basing this one opinion off of episode 8 when he pulled Kata. And he told
Yeah.
Kata to his face that, or to her face, that she was his number two. So, anyways, she
Yeah.
set the whole timeline on fire on Twitter.
Right.
Everyone was mad.
At this point, I feel like Soul was, and I had this opinion for a while, but I feel like Soul really wanted to be a main OG girl.
And she
I
said
don't
that
feel,
when she was
yeah,
on live, too.
right.
I do have to throw that out there.
Yes, she has thrown so much shade to those girls, and she hasn't been fair to their journey in her commentary. Um, or since she threw Bryce in there, we can throw Bryce in there too. Like I don't feel like she's really like been fair in her judgment because she didn't really talk to a lot of them. So I mean she distanced herself, she isolated herself. And I think that in that happening to her, I feel that she just had a lot of built up animosity towards those girls for no reason. I'm not quite sure why she felt like she needed to speak on Melanie and Anaya. I don't feel like those girls have actually done anything personally to her. Yes, every girl is going to feel some kind of way when you're coming in, you're getting to know their man. I mean, every girl would move a little bit, you know? It's an
Yeah.
emotional experience. So it's kind of not fair that she was, all in her feelings about, well, they're just kind of like mean girls. You know what I mean? I feel that lately in past seasons when they've thrown that around, normally the public doesn't let it go. And it actually proves this week when we do start Casa, I've noticed a shift in the public's perception of the girls based on this week's episodes because of her comment. And I feel that unfortunately, um, the public likes to run with whatever narrative people come out of the show with. And Soul, we could tell from our point of view that she definitely was isolated, but it wasn't the girls necessarily isolating her or excluding her. And I felt like that was unfair for her to come for Melanie and Anaya simply because they didn't want her to take their man, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I do have something to add, like
mhm,
furthering your point. Like you said, Melanie really doesn't owe you any friendship at this point because naturally it would be hard for
mhm,
if you were gung ho for Sincere,
mhm.
right? It would be hard for any woman to be best friends with you when you're trying to take
Even
your
in real
man,
life, yeah,
even in real life. And I feel like I think Melanie and Anaya did a good job of like trying to include her in things because I remember in a prior episode when Trinity and Anaya and Soul were sitting watching the guys work out or something like that. And Melanie came in and like she was talking to everyone who was sitting there,
yeah,
and Soul was sitting there.
yeah.
So it's just like I don't think I can't see Melanie or Anaya especially being mean girls. I just think that narrative is so fraudulent and made up at this point because I really can't
It
trust
is
anything that Soul says, especially because the person that you should have had the most heat for, which is Sincere, you didn't have anything to say about him. You actually
right,
said in your live that you forgive him, which you should forgive him. Like you can't hold grudges. But at the same time, it's like you have smoke for literally everyone else.
right.
And Sincere is the only person you have something good to say about, even though he's done you the most dirty. Interesting.
And
But
and like on top of that, like Melanie even gave, I mean, without Soul even being there with her and Sincere, she gave uh Soul credit for calling out Sincere on all the things that all the lies that he's been telling her, right? I mean, Soul really put a damper on things. And I really feel like in her Love Island journey, it could have been a good outcome for her as far as like public perception. But the problem was she came for like everyone. Everyone knows that Melanie, Anaya, Trinity, Kata, they all have big fan bases, right? These are OG girls. Regardless, they were going to have bigger fan bases than any of the bombshells, no matter who came in. So at the end of the day, right? It's unfair for Soul to just be like, well, they were just excluding me because every year there's this narrative that the girls exclude them. And I'm like, I don't think it's exclusion, but in real life, you would not be buddy buddy with the girl that is trying to take your man. Like you wouldn't do that, right? You would be a little
exactly.
hesitant, reserved. You wouldn't, that doesn't mean that
Well,
they
you
were
wouldn't be friends with them at all. Like if you were
right,
trying to be take my man, where you're immediately cut off in real life. So
right,
even the fact that Melanie was like trying to make an effort with her, it might not have been the effort that you wanted, but at the end of the day, you tried to get in between her and Sincere. She was never going to be your best friend. And then
right.
Anaya is naturally closer, and plus you were trying to take Casey too. So Anaya was never going to be
And
your
Anaya
best
was
friend.
very nice to Soul. Like there was little
Very.
peeps of them behind the scenes as well. And like there was never any bad blood. So I don't know where Soul is coming from. I really just think that that girl wanted to be an OG and she wasn't. And that wasn't her journey. That wasn't her experience. And I think that that's unfair to basically blame the girls for not being an OG. Like that's not their fault. They are also in a position to make decisions and choices. And unfortunately, Soul was not the bombshell that she needed to be as far as pulling everybody for chats and getting to know every she wasn't she just wasn't so and I'm not giving a lot of credit to Jen in that department either, but Jen also was in a situation where she kind of just had to couple up with Gabriel, right? Like Gabriel didn't have
Yeah.
anybody, that was just what had to happen. So at the end of the day, Soul was not as she was not as nice as I would have liked her to be about the girls on After Sun. And I feel like these days people are very people are pretty mean online, right? And I think that it can be hard being a bombshell anyway, but I don't think that she helped herself by immediately coming for the OG girls knowing that nothing has even been aired of those girls being mean to her. So whatever it is, it's not to the public knowledge. So I felt like it was a little unfair of her to just come for them simply really for being OGs, right? So that's kind
Yeah.
of where I sit with her. But Yeah, Soul is not my favorite either.
Yeah, and this is the last thing because I'll say about this because I don't want to talk about her much longer. Like it's irrelevant at this point. But
Mhm.
her being getting on live and being like, I can't wait for the reunion because me and Bea are the only real girls out of this entire cast. What do you have to say at this point at the reunion? Mind you, when the reunion comes around, we're not going to care much more about your situation.
At
No,
all.
seriously, after this week, there are bigger fish to fry. So I feel
Right.
like you're waiting for your 15 minutes of fame at the reunion when nobody is gonna care by the time that the reunion comes around. I feel like she's just trying to stay relevant at this point. And I
She could have if she didn't come out the villa basically bashing all the girls. Like I think that Soul actually had a pretty solid fan base. I mean, considering that Sincere was lying to her all that time, she had a pretty solid ground to stand on, and she still chose to bash the girls. So at this point, the public doesn't have any choice but to like leave you alone because at the end of the day, the reunion's going to come, but 3 more weeks of Love Island is going to have
still
gone
has to
on by then.
happen.
The
Yeah,
outside, they're going to have been on the outside. Like things will have happened by then. So whatever you have to say about the villa at that point in your time in it, at this point, honey, you've only been in the show for the first half of the show, not the second half or after that. So you would have been irrelevant anyway at that point because the audience is already done talking about you since you're dumped from the island. Same with Bea
exactly.
and Gabe, right?
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
They're acting like they had the Jeremiah situation because that
They
was
did not.
they left at the same time. Jeremiah left at this time last
Or the
year.
Andrea situation, and
Yeah,
it was
like
not.
it was not it. Like you don't have the pool that they had because that was a completely different thing, right? This is a completely
Right.
different season. You're not as
The
relevant.
circumstances are different.
Yeah,
Right.
they're not as relevant as those people were, and that's okay. Like not everyone can be the
Top
Jeremiah or the
dog.
Andrea, right? Like not everyone's gonna talk about you after you leave. But I digress
Mhm.
on that. I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm like,
No, we had to get out the after sun stuff because I really
yeah,
feel that it actually I'm going to actually bring it back up because I feel like it'll tie into the end of the week and I've seen the public kind of shift about Soul based on things that happened during Casa Week. So let's just get into it.
yeah. So
um
Sunday. Hey, the first thing that I wrote in my notes from Sunday is that the cracks were really starting to form between Casey and Anaya because right off the bat, they're having a conversation about him wanting to save Saul, kind of to pursue her. And that did not go well. What are your thoughts on that? Because you were a Casey and Anaya stan in the beginning and like not so much anymore. But yeah,
yeah.
what are your thoughts?
I'll say this in general for my like theme of them of the week. Um I'm not impressed. I don't feel like anything is all one or the other's fault, but I do think things have been disrespectful on Casey's side that have made it harder for the public, especially when it comes down to voting. Like it's made it harder for the public to stand by him, right? He constantly contradicts himself. He constantly makes these we'll see it and talk about it for sure. But throughout the week we kind of see him, you know, when they start Casa, he kind of starts making these disrespectful comments. And I feel like this was kind of their last straw. They didn't leave that conversation on a good note and they didn't have a conversation before they went to Casa. So
Mhm.
at this point, the worst thing Anaya did in that conversation was say, do whatever you want. That's the worst
Yeah.
thing you could say under the circumstances because not only did they not really finish having that conversation, but because she got up and walked away out of frustration, fair enough, right? But you left the conversation saying, you know what, do whatever you want. And he said, don't say that, right? So there is two lanes that we're going to see and talk about throughout this week. There's the exploring lane, and then there's the respect aspect. I think that those two are not the same thing. And I think that the public has gone back and forth due to behaviors that we didn't agree with. But I think that at the end of the day, they've been going in circles, and I fear that they've had a lot of their conversations have been due to other people's opinions or other people's um, experiences with them individually. So I don't feel that you know, they've had some incompatibilities, and that's been shown even before Casa. But I think a lot of it is due to the interference of their relationship, and I'll leave that there. I'll leave,
Yeah,
I'll leave that because I just get more upset throughout the week, y'all. So genuinely, I'm like, it is what it is. But I think that the public was very judgmental of Anaya, too judgmental of Anaya in the beginning. I've said it once and I'll say it again. I think that Anaya hasn't done enough to have warranted the hate that she got prior to Casa. I do understand the different positions as to why people feel the way that they do, because I think that production, the worst thing that they did in their whole situation is not send in a bombshell for Anaya. The public is kind of hung up on, both of them were each other's default option, and so were they. Both of them, you can see in their interactions, like both of them do not feel secure. And personally, I never felt like they treated each other as the safe option, but they also didn't have a choice. Like, none of the girls at that point were going to choose Casey at that point, and because Sol was already gone, and none of the boys were going to choose Anaya, period. So there wasn't any other option for them to explore. And I really feel like having a bombshell for Anaya before Casa would have changed their whole trajectory as far as how they move and communicate with one another. Pre Casa, post Casa, during Casa, how they even moved during Casa. I think that it would have changed a lot of things, because we would have genuinely seen as an audience if they're genuinely into each other or if they really are each other's safe option. Now, I will say we do see throughout the week that there are some underlying feelings that weren't explored on either of their side. And I think that there's things that Anaya doesn't know about how Casey feels, and there's things now, as in current day, now that it's the end of Casa, that we've seen her be like, oh my gosh, like this is really, I didn't realize that this was going to go this direction. I didn't realize that this was going to impact our relationship so much. Everything that Anaya has felt has been confirmed, but it's also been through other people's voices, not strictly from Casey's. So, like
yeah.
I said,
We need to get into all of that because the
I'm just
cracks,
setting the
no,
tone.
yeah,
I'm just
no,
setting the
yeah, yeah,
tone.
yeah, no, the cracks really formed
Yeah.
in their relationship. I do want to say because I'm kind of moving on from them because we'll get back to them. They were like the highlight of the week in a lot of
Yes.
ways. But I'm moving on to Zach and Kata because
We
their
both took a note of
last
this.
because I was so irritated. Like this was the start of my irritation for the week. Zach was really upset with Kata that Caleb had pulled her, which is a total double standard because he's been bringing up that he's wanted to explore for 4 episodes in a row. Mind you, they went into the hideaway together and literally after doing stuff, he was like, well, how would you feel if I talked to somebody else? Like, so
Yeah.
he's been soft launching that he wants to explore for a while now. As soon as Caleb pulls Kata, oh, now all of a sudden it's a problem, and he's
Mm-hmm.
acting like he wants to be closed off without being closed off. And so they get into this whole heated argument, and he's like, I have to go talk to Bryce. And Kata's
Mm-hmm.
like, why do you have to go talk to Bryce? And he's like, I'm just gonna go talk to Bryce. And so they separate. Kata talks to Melanie, and then Zach is in the kitchen, like basically whining and moping. And then
Right.
Kata comes back down to the kitchen and she asks Zach if they can go have a chat. And like at this point, they're both heated. So he says, oh, you're being a little, well, he didn't say this, but after like she had pulled him and they had fought more about the situation, he went back into the kitchen and he was like, she just pulled me aggressively. And she really did it. She was like,
She did
Zach,
not.
let's go chat. That's literally all she said. I think she got a little more heated when he was like, I'm sitting here having a nice conversation with these people. I'm like, these people are not in your couple. And then this is the kicker, Samaya. After all of that, he didn't make her breakfast the next morning. Like, after all of that, I hate the way this man talks to her. I really hate it. Like, I hate it. It was so bad. It was so bad. But
I actually have to add this in because this will tie right back in at when we talk about how this week ended. It will tie right back in. I literally put in my notes, Um, I said that the jealousy is not attractive. It's not.
It's not.
And Zach, of all people, when you're talking about exploring after you just went to the hideaway, and I said, Kata, please, no bird energy. Now we will
Oh,
cycle back. We are going to cycle back to this, y'all, to this
no,
point
because
because
it
it
was
will make
giving
perfect
Bird
sense.
Universe. It was giving
Yeah.
Bird University.
I genuinely tweet because
No,
genuinely
Bach
I was
Bach.
like, Zach couldn't have possibly called that woman aggressive. Not like for wanting a conversation, really, and you have to go speak to Bryce about it. Are you for real?
Right.
Like,
Mind you,
I
when
don't
he was
understand.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just
Oh
gonna
no, you're
add in this
fine.
little point. Mind you, when he was like or like moaning in the kitchen about what had happened, Bryce was just sitting here like zoned out.
Not
He's not
caring.
even listening to you at this point.
Not
So what do you have
caring.
to go talk to Bryce about? He does
Yeah,
not care. I think
right,
everyone is over it at this point. All of these arguments are so stupid and unnecessary, not just from them. It's
right,
literally from everyone in the villa.
right.
All of these arguments are stupid and unnecessary. But finish your thought. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I felt like Zach, like there's a part of me that, and I know I'm right. There's a part of me that gets I think Kata finds the jealousy like she's mentioned this a couple of times here and there that like she kind of finds it cute when Zach is jealous. Like she'll make like little comments here and there about it. I've seen her do that like throughout their time together. And jealousy is all well and good in the beginning, but the fact that that man called her aggressive and didn't want to make her breakfast because as like a punishment for her behavior,
And he
like
does that a lot, like especially after Gabrielle got dumped. He was like, "Well, you guys won't be getting breakfast in the morning." He does. He says these things to kind of punish Kata and the other girls in a way. And it's like, who do you think you are to be laying down the law? No one cares what you think. And I just don't
right.
like that Kata just sits and takes what he has to say. He's not that
Because
cute to be
Kata
talking like this. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm
Because
sorry.
Kata's allowed to be open. Like she's allowed to have conversation. That doesn't mean that something is going to spark from that conversation. But having a conversation is the first step to exploring. I know that these
Exactly.
islanders seem to think that it's only physical, but she hasn't done anything disrespectful to Zach at this point to warrant that behavior where he's like, yeah, I'm not making you breakfast. Like, you're kind of being aggressive, blah, blah, blah. You're pulling me aggressive. Like, no, she's having a conversation because she needs to get out her feelings just as much as you're allowed to get out yours. It's not fair to Kata because she had a conversation with Caleb. You don't even know what came out of that conversation and you're already like moaning and crying about it. So
Yeah, and the conversation wasn't even memorable. I don't have anything from it to say. So that's why I'm
literally,
like,
no
this is
substance.
exactly.
She just wants to be open. Like she just doesn't want to be, she's thinking of it. Kate is thinking of it as like it's just a conversation. It's not like, there's something, she enjoyed the conversation. Like, can the girl not say she enjoyed the conversation? You literally went to the hideaway with her and then said, oh, well, if another bombshell came in, would you be okay with me exploring? Like, hold on.
Right.
Hold on.
Mind you, after they had done stuff too. So,
Right. They had gone the full
yeah,
mile and like
right.
literally like the double standard, I'm not understanding it. Like why can't she but you can? I don't understand.
Yeah, I definitely don't understand, and I was appalled by that. But what I was even more like, the episode just kept getting crazier because
Y'all, Casa Moore started just off rip bad. Like
right off rip. But Casey and Sincere were having a conversation by the dock, and simultaneously, Anaya and Melanie were having a conversation.
so
And
funny.
it's just really funny because in Anaya and Melanie's conversation, Melanie was talking about closing things off with Sincere. And I literally wrote in my notes, I said, Melanie, do not close things off. He will cheat.
I was
Which
so
she,
bothered by her saying that. I was like,
and
I
Melanie
cannot believe we're having this conversation right now.
love my girl Melanie, right? I love her down. But
I do love Melanie, yeah.
I cannot help but say that she is queen of Bird City. Like she rules the city, she rules the town. she will let Sincere do anything and everything. And this will tie back into the rest of the week too. Like she literally lets that man get away with everything. She acts like he hugged the moon. Like literally that's what their relationship gives. And
Right. He
so
designed the stars,
he designed the stars.
created
He
sunsets. Like,
right.
no.
Right. That's exactly how she acts. But on the flip side, in Casey and Sincere's conversation, Casey was saying how he feels restricted by Anaya and like he can't really explore. So I don't know. I don't agree with that because Anaya has said
Neither.
multiple times, do what you want. Like literally multiple times she said it. The thing about Casey is he wants to explore so bad, but he's also a very big coward. So he doesn't take the initiative to do so.
Right.
And that's not Anaya's problem. She's not holding you back from anything. You're just not taking the
Right.
initiative.
Right. It's
But
actually sorry, I just was
no,
gonna
you're
say something.
good. I was kind of
Um
done anyways.
okay.
Yeah,
um no, I just want to say one note about that because I feel like there's just so much more down the line with him. I just have to save all of it. But what I will say about that is um I feel like Casey, I don't know why he felt so restricted. I don't know what emotions he felt like Anaya was gonna have about it. I think at one point, um, he was getting annoyed at the fact that like she was so emotional. Like he felt like if she did or if he did, she would be emotional about it. But and there have been times when maybe Anaya didn't want that, but that doesn't mean like you can't do it, right?
exactly.
I think that he kind of is like, well, you know, she's got me on this leash right now. She doesn't have you on a leash. Like she's just
Right.
walking with you in the park, right? Y'all are side by side, but you're free. You just have the collar on. She doesn't have any leash on you. So the restricted word is bothersome because I'm like, everyone else doesn't seem to feel restricted. Everyone else is able to kind of move accordingly as they would in their own journey. Because at the end of the day, Anaya and Casey, yes, are couple or were coupled up, but like they're not their it's still their journey, right? So Anaya never wanted to be a burden to his journey. She never wanted to bother that. That's something that she kept reiterating. So him sitting there with Sincere and basically being like, "Yeah, I feel kind of restricted and yada yada yada." I'm like, "Well, she to this day hasn't told you that you can't." So
Exactly.
like you're confusing like if it's you that doesn't want to explore because of her emotions, you can simply say that, but saying that she's restricting you is inaccurate because we literally just watched her be like do whatever you want. So
Yeah. I think that's one of my biggest problems with KC is that he doesn't take accountability for a lot of his own actions and his mindset, and he tends to put the blame all on Anaya in the situation. And not saying that Anaya has been perfect throughout this entire journey. No one is perfect, right? But at the end of the day, she's valid in how she feels, and she's been trying to communicate that she doesn't feel secure with you. That doesn't mean you don't do what you want to do. Because at the end of the
right,
day, everyone has their own journey in here. You're there for yourself. Y'all are not boyfriend and girlfriend. You don't really owe each other anything. But there's still a way to
right.
be respectful about things. And I think that's what's misconstrued with KC because he doesn't know how to be respectful and
Yeah, he does have
explore.
terrible examples. I'll say that. Like Sincere is not a good example of respect either. So I feel like the guys
I
have
don't
this
feel like
perception.
any of the guys should be an example for I
No, no,
think
no, that's
you
what I'm
just do
saying.
what you
There's not
do.
good, right.
Exactly. Just do what
Um,
you do. Don't
I think all of
follow
them
the
think
guys.
that like I think all of them think anyway that exploring means like kissing, hugging, cuddling, da da da. Like exploring means what Kata did with Caleb, having a chat,
Yeah.
right? Getting to know each other, having a conversation. It doesn't have to go further than that, can it? Sure. And Sincere has definitely proven that in his journey. But like,
Because that's what Sincere's definition of exploring is. But
right.
that is not a
It doesn't have
universal
to be yours.
definition.
Right.
Yeah,
It doesn't
it's
have
not
to
a
be yours.
universal. Sincere is his own person. He does things his own way, and he proves that he's gonna do his way regardless. That's one
Right.
thing I can respect about Sincere. Like that's it.
He does
Like
his
he's
own
gonna do.
thing, right?
He does his own thing. Yes, is his methods completely wrong? Sure, but he doesn't let anyone saying that he's
Right.
restricted. No, we all know Melanie's not running that relationship. We all know she's not. So like, I don't know. I think it's kind of crazy that he keeps bringing that up, but there it was Bones before Casa because Casa started at the end of this episode, and
Girl,
that was crazy. The way that they did it this year, and I was happy about this because at the beginning of the week, I was happy. Like, we're going to Costa. This is the first time I was excited about it. That quickly changed. But the way they did it this year was actually kind of genius. I'm not gonna lie, because
yeah,
like tricking the Islanders into thinking that they're doing the heart rate challenge, which notoriously I hate this challenge every year. I think it
me
was the
too.
worst it was last season. I don't know what was in the air last season, but I literally skipped through most of it last season because it was entirely too much.
Overly raunchy, yeah.
Yeah, entirely too much. But this year it was good. So they tricked all of the Islanders into thinking that they were going to do the heart rate challenge. So they're all getting dressed. The girls are getting ready. Their outfits looked tea. They looked cute. And then the boys get a text that they're going to Casa. Like, they do their little skip, whoop-de-doo to Casa.
I'm done. Skip
And
whoop to do.
no, literally that whole little skipping, running with their suitcases
See,
montage.
I thought it was so tea. Sorry, this I have to give props to production in this way because normally I'm kind of like not moved by production, but I think this was so smart. Like normally I appreciate the heart rate challenge at the end of the season when the couples are already established. It's not like my favorite challenge, but I like it more when everyone's already in something solid. Um, Whereas last year they didn't really do that, and this year them putting it at Casa was so like it was such a different twist. I thought that that was like such an exciting thing, at least for the viewers, because we were all getting a little tired. Um,
Exactly.
and I
It was
think that
something
like
different.
it
Yeah.
was refreshing. Like yes, we will get into the heart rate challenge as a challenge, but I do think that like um the tricking the boys into thinking and the girls that they were going to be doing the heart rate challenge with with their current couples. I thought that that was genius. They immediately obviously text the boys, and the boys head to Casa Amor, as Jordan said, skip de whoop de doo, grab their suitcase, and they were off.
And then, so the best part about this whole thing was that the girls came down 6 stairs, and naturally they're expecting the boys to be there because the boys always greet them when they're walking downstairs.
Right.
And they see this big present, the fire pit. So I don't know why they thought this was good. Naturally, when Love Island gives you any sort of thing, it's pretty much always bad. I don't think there's ever been like maybe a date is good, but every time that text rolls around, I'm like, what's going on? you
Right.
know,
They said maybe the
we
boys are in there. I said
like all of them. No, no. Anyways,
no.
no, that's not that. They
And
wouldn't do
Melanie
that.
said they could all fit in there.
I mean, the box was big, but like Melanie is notoriously a little delusional from
A
here
bit.
from time to time, whatever.
Right.
But the box opens and it's a TV screen, and all the boys are sitting on a couch in Casa Amor,
Ready for
waiting
the heart
for
rate challenge.
right for the Casa girls to walk in, and their faces immediately dropped. It was cinematic, honestly. It was
Honestly,
cinematic.
that's actually one of like probably top we'll say like top five right now moments for me. As far as like the whole season, because like I said, I feel like this was such a perfect moment for this kind of challenge. It was unfortunate that the girls never got to do the challenge. They all looked great in their outfits, but I was very, very excited for them to see how the boys reacted with the new Casa girls.
And boy, did they react. Honestly, it was bad from start to finish. I wrote down everyone's names when they walked in.
Yeah,
Amora went first. And
me
when she
too.
came in, I was like, oh, she's really pretty. She's T. Like,
Gorgeous.
yeah.
Georgiana.
She didn't really give a specific on who she was necessarily going for.
A
And when
lot of
she,
the Costa girls just said, sorry not to cut you off. A lot of
oh,
them
you're
were just
good.
like, the boys are too comfortable. That was a lot of their descriptions, most of them.
Yeah. Um, except for Tiara, but we'll get to her.
Yeah.
But yeah, and she basically kissed everyone in the heart rate challenge Amora when she came in. So I didn't really know who she was gonna have her eyes set on. But she looked great. She was pretty.
Chandy
Um,
was mad about like her kiss with Bryce or whatever. She was a little moved. I wrote that in there.
yeah, but she kissed everyone.
So it was
So
kind of like,
it was
yeah,
like, and like the thing is, everyone acted a certain type of way except Caleb,
right,
really.
right,
And Caleb's not even in a couple. So like you
yeah.
can't even, but I did peep that I don't remember which girl came in, but Jen was like, really, Caleb? When he was kissing one of them, I was like, Jen, you're just trying to
I
add
was like, don't
discourse.
even do it. Like, girl, if this was
No,
you, you would be getting your thing on. So please.
right. I was like, Jen's just trying to be in the fray. Like, girl,
Right. Like she just wants
please
to be part
stop.
of the group. That's it.
But anyway, the next girl that came in was Parmita. I wrote down she is gorgeous.
She
She
is
is
fire.
bomb. She's
That's a
bomb.
bombshell, y'all.
A
That
bomb
like
shell.
she's
She
a
should have came in when
bombshell.
Soul came in and Jen
Like
came in.
no shade to Jen, but
No shade
honey,
to Jen and Soul, but
nobody's touching Parmita. Truly,
no, she would have ate down
like
coming in when they
body
did.
crazy ponytail. I think she had a ponytail.
And she's so pretty.
Yeah,
She's gorgeous.
effortlessly gorgeous.
If I'm not mistaken, I think she ended up kissing everyone too.
Yeah, I want to say most of the, I would say like half of them weren't super choosy. Like they just kind of,
They were like going for everyone, talking to
yeah,
everyone. I didn't know based off that who she was gonna choose either.
right.
And then I think Jaden came in next. She's blonde. She's pretty.
Oh, wait. No, we got to say this because I wrote this in
Oh,
my
okay.
notes.
Okay, you go.
Corbin, at this moment, he said, I'm bringing someone back. And then Casey
Oh,
said that Kenzie's out the window.
I did skip over that.
It's okay. No,
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 that
I
was
just have to get their
important.
reaction.
No, that was important. That was important because Kinsey, he had her activated. Let me
This
tell
is
you,
when the girls started to suffer. They were like, oh no,
right?
this is when they got activated for real.
And the thing is about Kenzie, this is one thing I respect about Kenzie. When she gets done dirty by a man, she moves on, has the next one coming, and
That's
doesn't
the
spin the
only girl that
block.
is not a bird. I'm sorry, y'all.
She
I said
no,
it.
she's not. Yeah, you can't even give her those allegations because
You can't.
she
She
will
got a
have the
roster.
she has a roster. She doesn't spin the block. She doesn't let you talk about her any type of way. I respect that. I
Me
really
too.
do.
Me
Because
too.
at the end of the day, Corbin, you're not talking to her again. She's not gonna talk to you again.
She
That
decided
was
that day. She said D
she,
Day. She said this is
she
decision making day.
right. She said in her confessional, she was like, "This is the last time Corbin's gonna be talking to me. I
And
don't even
never
want
felt bad
anything."
about it. That girl never cried,
And
nothing. Like she
no,
moved on.
she moved on, and I respect that because
Me
not
too.
all of the girls can say that they can do that. But
Literally most of them can't, but you know.
right. But yeah, Jaden came in next. She was really pretty too. She's blonde.
I would also like
Um,
to mention, because this is while Jaden was in there, Bryce said that's not the only thing that's hard after she kissed him or something. Um,
yeah, and that sent the
I was
girls
like,
through the
yeah,
roof.
I was like,
I'm
no,
like,
we're not doing
Bryce,
this.
no. And I think at the end of the day, I think all of the boys were just trying to get their little one-liners out. I was like, do not add to
Honestly,
the
too, I think all of
discourse.
them were just act. Okay, this is something I'll say in general, just for the beginning of Casa, since this is where we're at. The boys will always be excited, no matter what couple they're in or how strong they are. They're always going to be excited the first day because, and the girls, because everyone's getting to know new people. It's a breath of fresh air, right? It's not necessarily meaning that they're going to leave their couple, but everyone gets excited. And Casa is a different villa as well, so like there's that energy in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think Bryce even meant it necessarily in a malicious way. I just think all the boys were overly excited as usual.
Yeah. I don't think he meant it in a malicious way either. I think everyone had something to say.
Oh, for sure.
There was not one boy. And Sincere didn't say much, but his face said it all. He didn't even have to say anything. He was like breathing hard and oh,
Like his
his
body was like
lip
reacting.
exactly. I'm like, he didn't even have to say much. His face said it all. But after Jade and Tiara came in, and she's beautiful. Don't get
She
me
is
wrong.
tea. She's
She's
tea.
gorgeous. And she immediately said, I want Casey. And so I said, it's over. Kanaya is
Oh,
my notes.
I said in her intro, she was, yes, like you said, she was very forward about wanting Casey. Uh, there was never going to be a situation where there wasn't going to be a girl in there for Casey specifically, and Sierra was that girl. But
Yeah.
the thing I wrote was she's giving pick me vibes, no shade. The fact that she said I get attached too quickly is not a good thing. And yeah, that's all I wrote about the girl. She's gorgeous, but I don't like that. I don't like that pick me energy. It could come from any of them. I don't like it.
It came for a lot of them from a lot of them, don't get me
It did,
wrong.
and we will talk about it. But I'm just saying, in her intro, I was like, "Here we go." I
Yeah.
was like,
I
"Here we go."
think I think during this time too, when she was there, a lot of the girls were having reactions to what they were seeing, and Melanie kept being like, "You need to watch it. You need to watch it. We need to see what they're gonna do," type
Mhm.
thing. And I will say, Melody is a lot of talk in these
She's all talk.
situations. She's all
She's
talk
all talk every time.
because everyone was hyping her up on Twitter for being kind of the voice of reason in this sense, because her and Trinity were like, we need to watch it, we need to watch it. But Melanie, girl, I'm not even gonna
She's
give you your
always all
twos for
talk,
that because
always.
she's always talking. There's all bark, no bite with her.
Right.
But I just wrote that down because a lot of people hyped her up for that on Twitter.
And then I said also, um, Trinity said something about like the guys giving her the ick, and I said yes, they have all like icked me out with some of their commentary. Not saying that
Yeah,
they're, like
it
I'm
was
with her
all
on that.
too much because literally everyone had something to say. I think Zach, when Jaden came in, he was like, "Oh, suddenly I'm into blondes now."
Oh,
Like,
right,
why
right.
all these little one-liners? Like, please,
I was
it's
like,
getting weird.
yeah.
But then Alana came in after Tierra, and this is where it starts to get weird because Alana obviously got kicked out for being saying racist comments and racial slurs. And a lot of people noticed that she kissed the white boys. So she kissed Caleb, she kissed Bryce, and
Bryce
she
and
kissed
Zach,
Zach. But when she got to Corbin and
Casey,
Casey and
and Sincere.
Sincere, she wouldn't even let them touch her. So, and she
I
was like,
know.
no, like, and she was standing like basically like 6 feet away
Opposite.
from them.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't even get close to them. So, a
I
lot of
put in my
people,
notes. Oh, go ahead.
oh, I just
I'll
said
let
a
you go.
lot of people peeped her weird vibe from the beginning. But go ahead and say what you're gonna
Yeah,
say.
I just wanted to add to that and be like, in my notes, I put, I'm cringing so bad. Like, this is cringy. I was like, girl, there was a better way. There was a better way. I'm not saying she had to kiss everybody like everyone else, but like, it just wasn't. It didn't eat like she thought it did. I don't know how to describe it.
It didn't, and then the fact that it came out that you had said racial slurs, especially about black people, I was
And
like,
she
okay,
kissed Charlie or whatever, or like her and Charlie,
yeah,
like
she
because
was.
she ended up picking that. I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, so if people don't know, Charlie was on season 7 of Love Island, and he's related to Zach. He's Zach's older brother, and he's
right?
almost 30. She's 21, I think, or 22. So I don't know. And she's going for Zach. It's just
And she was like,
weird. The
clearly I
whole
have a type. I was like, ooh,
right, the whole situation was just weird. She was off-putting from the beginning. But I just had to throw that out there because she ended up getting removed from the villa this
hmm,
week, which adds to some of the Zach and Kata discourse, but we can get into that later.
exactly.
And then Sydney was the last person to come in. I think I got
Mhm.
everyone. But I liked
You did.
Sydney from the beginning. I think she had a lot of energy. Her when her cast photo dropped, I was like, "Oh, Sydney, girl, like your face is
Sydney and
so
Parmita,
tea."
I was like, Sydney and Parmita, I was like, ooh, they're gonna shake. Like the villa will be shook
Yeah,
because I was like both of them, and I felt that Tierra was too. But I
yeah.
just was like, definitely those two. I was like, wow, like these are bombshells. I don't know what they've been waiting for, but these are bombshells for real.
Right. I think if Sydney and Parmita came in earlier, I really
Like with
wish
Soul
Jen and
and
Soul. I don't think Jen and Soul were the right people to come in, or Caleb even. Like they didn't do anything. Like this was the first trio of bombshells that completely flopped. I'm not even
no,
gonna. I
literally,
think they
literally,
completely
I was
flopped.
like, wow. Like Soul had the most like she had the most going. I would say Caleb did too, but obviously Kenzie shut that down and all that. But Soul was dumped before Jen and Caleb. So I'm just like, you know what? This wasn't the
Right.
right group for this time. It was not. They
It
should have
it
come in at
definitely
the end.
wasn't. And I think
Yeah.
production realized that um
Wasn't their best move. That's why we
it
needed the
wasn't
heart
their
rate
best.
challenge.
Exactly. I think I constantly notice times when production is pivoting in real time. I think they did a lot of things differently this year because
Mhm.
the bombshells flopping so hard. They needed to shake things up because last year there was too much exploring. This year there's not
Not enough.
enough.
Yeah.
So you really see production pivoting in real time.
No, literally. And after Sydney, like the TV like went off for the girls and the boys
Yeah.
went next. You know, the boys cringed me out as they do.
Right. I was gonna say, do we even have to get into that? Because I'm like,
No, no,
it
no,
was
we don't. We
awful.
don't.
It
But
was
I do
awful.
want to add in there. I was just like, we don't. We can like I'm just gonna make this point
No,
and then we can
yeah.
move on. I was cringed out by Kinsey and Kata screaming like, screaming at the Casa Villa. I didn't really like that. I just
Yeah.
I don't know how
It
to
was
describe
kind of
it.
unnecessary.
Like it
It
was
was,
a
yeah.
little petty, but
Yeah.
uh and then I said because I was encouraging Anaya to the screen, I was like, yes, you can do better. So let's do better. Like,
Yeah, and I
woo!
wrote in my after the screen went off, I was like, Anaya is activated because in her confessional, she was saying, two can play this game. If you want to act like that, I can play the game better. So I'm like, yes, Anaya, we're finally starting
Woo!
to wake up. Yes,
Yeah,
you deserve better. You need to move on.
right.
I I can't say if that really happened this week, but
All
I
the
felt
girls just
yeah,
went a different way, y'all.
all of them, every single one.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what happened, but this wasn't in the script.
Right. But that was basically Sunday's
That episode,
episode.
yeah,
Yeah. So now we get into Monday. I just have to laugh because the concert this week was a mess. But the girls, um, they got 12 new guys. I started with this because
me too.
in tonight, but when Ian Sterling does that, he was like 12 new guys enter
Right?
the villa.
Emma.
And I wrote 12 new guys is honestly a nightmare.
I said, it's the girls' turn now, man. 12 new guys.
No,
Woo woo.
I know. I put it's a nightmare though because I'm like, by the way that the production were picking these men for the regulars, I can't imagine
When those
what these
cast photos dropped,
like
I was like,
how's
and
this
we're really off the script now. We're really off the script. What happened?
right, right. But okay, so the episode starts, and then I feel like Casey had said something that put me off. I can't remember what he said, but there's a lot of instances where Casey has said something this week
I know. I'm like, I don't even
that put me off.
remember,
I think it
honestly.
was like something about him having aura in Casa.
Oh my God. He was like, the women over there don't understand my powers. Like over here, I got aura. I was like, and you need to have a seat. You need to have the
Right.
seat. You need to be
And
humbled immediately. Where's the door?
humbled immediately. Because where did all of this come from? Genuinely, I was so taken aback. Because he was one thing in the villa, but Casa activated an entire new personality for
An
Casey.
entire different side of him for sure.
Exactly. It was horrible. It was genuinely
This
horrible.
was the
I
nightmare, if I'm honest.
that he was the nightmare. But there was a conversation between Bryce and Cindy. It was kind of bland. He said he was thinking about Trinity, which that's nothing new. Like he's
It was
always
a nice
thinking about
conversation. I
Trinity.
put it was
Yeah.
a nice. It felt like a regular conversation.
It was regular. And honestly, these are the conversations that the men should have been having without doing all the things that they were doing. Cause like you don't have to kiss someone, like we said,
Right.
to get to know
Prove a
them.
Yeah, to prove
But
that you like them. Right.
that's neither here nor there. And then
Alana and Zach.
yeah, this is a
This is when Alana told Zach that she had kissed Charlie like on the outside world. Um And
Yeah,
I think Zach was like totally, as anyone would be, like completely taken aback.
he was.
Um,
The
I
thing
was just
is,
like, what?
it didn't even seem like it bothered him too much. I think he
It
was just
didn't, it
shocked.
didn't, but I think it was just like, whoa, you know?
Yeah. Um,
Um,
I think it switched back to the villa after their
it did.
conversation because Trinity was hyping up the girls and being like, "We saw how they're acting. Like, we need to wake up, Anaya. You need to tighten up. You need to
Kata is
talk to
irritated
someone."
too. She's irritated at this
Ada,
point.
she is. And at this point, I think Alana and Zach did kiss in their conversation, which she
Oh,
didn't
I
know
forgot
about
about
at
that.
this
Yeah.
point. Yeah. So at this point, I'm really hoping that she would tighten up and talk to somebody because I didn't want Zach with her anyway. Even if he didn't do anything, I wanted her to talk to
I
somebody
needed
else.
Kata to be activated. I needed the that New Hampshire to come right on out of her. But
Right.
you know,
I was like, yes, Reaper Kato, wake up. In my notes, I literally put that in all caps.
Grim Reaper
Yes,
has been asleep
Grim
for a
Reaper
while.
Kato. Right. I think she was dead and gone before she came into the villa, the
She
Grim
was
Reaper
right
Kato.
after her tiff with Melanie earlier in the season. Honestly, that side of her left.
It died. It literally
They
died.
literally died. Like it went away. It's nowhere to be found.
Right. But after that, Case it switches back to Casa and Casey and Tierra are having a conversation. And I can't even tell you what they talked about for real. But all I know is that they started kissing really quick after that. Like he basically tackled her onto the mattress to kiss her. It was kind of cringe.
I don't. I don't remember either exactly what they said. I do remember he did bring up Anaya. I think basically Tierra was just like, oh, well, she's not your girlfriend, that kind of thing. Um, he said at the time that he liked both of their vibes. I think in his confessional, I don't know if he said that to her, but he said that. Um, like you said, obviously they kissed at the end, whatever. I did put in my notes. I don't know what I was thinking, but at the time, it kind of felt like they were vibing, but I didn't know like if he was gonna
I love how you're like,
listen.
I don't know what I was thinking.
I don't know what I was thinking because
That
I
is
think
funny.
the girl I don't because
Yeah.
we've seen throughout the week like it kind of everything gets mumbo jumbo, but truly I think at that first point I feel like it wasn't that bad. I did think that the tackling was a little cringy, but like I guess the conversation didn't do enough. They didn't show enough of it for me to be like, oh, that was a bad conversation. I guess that's where I was coming from, but I don't know. But I was bothered.
Yeah.
I was very bothered.
I think I was more so bothered that it took him almost no time to move on. That was the kicker for me,
um,
especially after everything that he's been saying to Anaya, like she's the blueprint. After the
uh,
letter situation,
the only reason why I wasn't surprised, not saying I was unbothered, but I wasn't surprised because um, Anaya kind of gave him that green light. So I just felt like before he even went. So yes, the blueprint stuff, all that stuff does make sense. But if she hadn't said that before he went, I would have been more surprised than I was. I wasn't surprised. I was just annoyed.
yeah.
um, but
But
yeah,
yeah,
go
after
ahead.
that, the villa basically went to bed. All the guys had some girl in their bed. I can't say that everyone was doing anything. I think this is what's funny. So it's so funny how quickly things can change in Casa because the first night, Caleb and Parmita were a thing. So they shared a bed. Sydney and
Yeah, they
Bryce,
can.
yeah,
Yeah,
they kissed. Sydney and Bryce shared a bed that night. I think Bryce is the only one that didn't kiss. Because even Sincere, I think he was like macking on with Amora in bed. He shared a bed with Amora. Casey shared a bed with Tierra, and then Zach was with Alana, and then Corbin was with Jaden, and they kissed that night too. So yeah, it was just all weird.
and
I
Kato
felt
was
so
looking at Zach's photos. I was like,
yeah, I felt
girl,
so
no.
bad for the girls too because they went to bed alone, and the boys had
They
someone in
did.
their
I was
bed.
like, I felt
I
bad for
felt
that. I was like, production played.
they played,
They
but
got all
production
cute for no reason.
they made up for it because the next day, The new guys came in on a boat, and the OG guys got to see it.
And Sincere says that like he misses Melanie. I'm sorry, I have to point this out. He says that he misses
Yeah.
Melanie, but he kissed Amora. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
And I literally wrote, you don't need to do all of that. You really don't.
Literally. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Right.
Anyway, new day, fresh start.
Yeah. So I enjoyed watching the Casa Boys come in because mind you, there are 12 of them. And the OG guys got to see it. And
They were like,
Bryce is so funny, like sometimes. He's so funny sometimes because why did he say there's like six Corbins on that boat?
him and
So
him about Corbin is just
he
like, oh my
thinks
gosh.
he thinks Corbin is the beauty standard.
To be fair though, when Corbin came in, all the girls were all over him. So I mean,
No, Corbin is
it's valid.
beautiful. It's just when he opens his
He
mouth,
opens his
then his
mouth and
thoughts
it's a
go
mess.
lower. But if he just stands there, he's beautiful. But once he opens his mouth, oh, the personality comes out, and it's just like, okay, you're not it. You're like not as
Yeah, like you've
attractive as
literally
you were.
reached like top of the cringe totem pole.
Exactly.
And I
But
put, oh, sorry. I was going to
oh,
say, I
sorry.
think Anaya, Trinity, and Kinsey seemed the most ready to meet new men at that point, like that morning.
I agree. I feel like in Jen was overly ready because she's
Oh, well,
single.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I was thinking,
yeah, she was overly ready. But I don't know. I found this whole thing so interesting because the first thing I wrote down when they came in was, where are they gonna sleep? Are they keeping everyone? Like, how is this gonna work? I didn't know at
really?
that point what was going on. I
I
didn't
knew
know that they
only
were
six
gonna
guys would
pick.
end up staying. I didn't know who they were going to pick, but I knew only six guys would end up staying. I was like, they're not going to keep 12 of them in there.
Well, when they came in, and maybe I wasn't listening, but at that point, I didn't know that the girls got to choose, and I didn't know
Oh,
like
okay.
how all of that was gonna work. Like, did we vote? Did they get to pick? But yeah, I was like, it's a little crowded in here already. And it was kind of stressful watching them talk to everyone because there's just so many people, and the clip just kept
It felt
going.
like a college like pool party though. Not gonna lie, like I was kind of vibing because it felt very like normal. Like I kind of liked it. It was too quick. I think that the guy should have been in there maybe a day longer, but
Yeah,
because it's hard to get to know that many people. Like the first conversation, you're gonna be like, "So where are you from? What's your favorite color? What do you do?" Da, da, da. Like but at the same time, they didn't have space for them, so like it was just one of those things that they kind of just had to like roll with and
yeah.
eliminate them ASAP. But but I thought it was nice. The whole like pool party setup, that whole like thing. I just thought it was fun. Like it was a cute way to kind of like ease everybody into the situation.
Yeah, the pool party was fun. I was coming from a perspective, if I was there, I would have been overwhelmed. Like, I don't even want to talk to
Oh, me
anybody because
too.
there's
Yeah,
too
that's
many.
why I feel like it should have been longer.
Yeah, because I was thinking in my head, I'm like, if this was me, I would just like be in my corner. Like, I'm
Or
not
they should
talking
have
to
done
this
like
many
a
men.
speed dating or something. I don't know. I just feel like it could have been
Yeah,
maybe a little bit
yeah.
easier or something, you know?
It was really hard to get to know everybody, but I think they did the best that they could do.
Right.
But basically, to pick which guys they wanted to keep, the guys got to like come and kiss the girls that they were
It's
most
two girls that they
attracted
wanted.
to.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that was interesting to see like who everyone picked and who everyone was willing to go for. Mm,
Hmm.
I think
Carl, oh,
oh, go
I
ahead.
have it
Yeah.
written down like who kissed
Oh yeah, you can do
because I
that.
didn't
I
know
don't
who was
have all that.
staying.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
didn't
didn't know
have
who
all
was
that.
staying, so I wrote it down. So
Yeah.
Carl kissed Anaya and Kenzie. Ronnie kissed Mel and Jen. Kyle kissed Trinity. They cut out because they didn't show who else. Tito kissed Kata. They didn't show another person. Shay kissed Jen and Kata. Corey kissed Mel and Trinity. Um, sorry. Keon kissed
Yeah.
Anaya and someone else. Chandler kissed Anaya. Gall kissed Jen. Dylan kissed Kenzie. Trey, I don't even remember these people, but Trey kissed Mel and Kinsey. And then and yeah, I said at the end, I said this felt like a college thing, and I didn't know how to go about it. Now the girls they chose to keep Corey, Che, Gall, Ronnie, Dylan, Carl.
And at first, when I saw this lineup of people, I was like, I don't know if the OG guys have anything to
Not
worry
their
about,
best. Yeah,
honestly.
it's like not
No,
their best moment.
and it's not no shade on the guys. Like they're all really nice. But from what we had saw, I was confused on the people that they chose to keep. No shade.
Literally.
But from the minimal conversations we saw, I was like, okay, but maybe we'll get some more out of their personality when
Right.
as the
And
week goes on.
at this point, like the girls just needed something. So Corbin, I said in my notes, I said Corbin forgot he was in a couple with Kenzie, and
Real
I was low key
quick.
laughing about it. I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
He said she probably busted the split
And
by
was he
now.
wrong?
Was he wrong though?
The first night away, she busted her angry splits, put her fist in the air. Like she was, that was her being upset. I was like, okay, Kenzie, you're doing a little much, but hey, I
Literally.
respect it. Um, I think him moving on so quickly, I didn't expect anything less from Corbin, to be honest.
Me
But
either.
it's just the way that he went about it. It was just so off. Because mind you,
It was
Kenzie's
his commentary. It wasn't really that he was exploring. I think that that's the main
exactly,
theme of Casa in general. Just put that out there. I feel like these men with their commentary, I think it was worse than them actually just exploring another girl across the board.
exactly.
Yeah,
Because I don't think Kenzie is like anyone's favorite by any means, but it gets to a point where she's really done nothing to you to
right.
where you have to make these disrespectful comments. But that's neither here nor there. At this point, I think Bryce was having a conversation with Sincere and they were looking over the balcony. Bryce was cracking me up this week because everyone on Twitter was basically saying that the guys were taking turns watching him to make sure that he wouldn't jump over the balcony.
Really, I didn't see that.
I thought that was so funny.
That is hilarious.
I was crying because literally, if you look at pictures, Bryce is always by the balcony, and then there's always another guy with him, but it's a different guy each picture. They're taking
They had to make
turns.
sure,
They
right?
had to they had to make sure he wasn't gonna jump and swim. But I think what he said to Sincere was really cute. Like he's talked to the girls, but he doesn't feel a connection. He's thinking about Trinity. This is cinematic though, because while he's talking to Sincere, Trinity is with Corey in the photo booth, kissing Corey. So Bryce is pouring his heart out at this point, and Sincere is like, yeah, you guys are so good. You're interlinked. And then here goes Trinity kissing in the photo booth. I didn't know how to feel about that, honestly. I did not
Um,
know how to feel.
I felt like the conversation between Corey and Trinity just because they don't, I'm trying to make it short and sweet because that's what it was, short and sweet. I feel
Yeah.
like their conversations weren't bothersome to me. I wasn't really like feeling away. I wasn't like I felt like they were fine. Like I think that they had a natural like flowing conversation. I don't think it was like anything for Bryce to worry about. But I mean I think it was fine for her to have the conversation. Obviously, I'm not a fan, y'all, just in general, of like the men crying on TV. I really think Kenny triggered me because like and now these days I'm just not as like into the tears from the male side, but I did think it was nice that he was very expressive about how much he missed Trinity. I'm just not into like the tears, but
Yeah, I mean,
I think it was nice.
I think the tears, I don't even know. That was neither here nor there for me. I just think what he was saying was nice. That's like what really I was focused on. I I don't care about Trinity's conversation with Corey. That was irrelevant.
Me
I guess
either.
I was so what I said is why I said I don't know how to feel about it is because it goes back to like the kissing outside of challenges. I personally don't think it's necessary. And I would say the same thing about Sincere going ahead and kissing Amora all the chances that he got, or Casey kissing Tierra as soon as he got the chance. Like I just think the kissing outside of challenges is not necessary, especially knowing that Trinity was so set on Bryce. Like I didn't think she had to do all that, if I'm
Hmm.
honest. And I think that just gave production ammunition to try and like break them up later on in the week. So I
Right.
don't know. That's like my only thing with it. If I'm gonna hold the men to this, I don't think it's necessary standard. I'm gonna hold the people who are supposed to be in a
Oh yeah, I don't
good
think it's
connection to
necessary
the
at
same
all.
standard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
gonna
know.
briefly not. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off
Oh, you're
because
good.
we skipped over some combos. So I'm just gonna briefly go through them. Not gonna lie, y'all, I wasn't the biggest fan of like the Carl thing, but if you watch production during their conversations of like the pool party and stuff, Anaya and Carl were sitting together. So I wasn't surprised that she chose Carl, but I was just like, feel like there was other options. But then again, they only had like a short amount of time to get to know these people. I know a lot of people were kind of upset about Keon, I think is his name. Keon and I were never like that was never happening. I wasn't even shocked that she didn't pick him. I was just shocked that she chose Carl. Um,
Yeah.
Zach and Alana, I said in my notes, I said I'm not really feeling it, but um, they kissed and stuff. He said that it felt right and all that. The Carl and Anaya convo, I feel like, um, sorry, y'all, I'm just speeding through this because like these combos are kind of whatever. Um, but they had a lot in common. It was a good convo. I feel like Carl is truly a gentleman, and it's very obvious that he's 28, and the Villa boys are most of them are under 25.
I just
So
want to say one thing about my man Carl, because Samaya knows like Carl was probably the only like Casa guy that like I really, really liked. I like Dylan and Corey now, but like I loved Carl. But it wasn't necessarily that I loved Carl for Anaya. I just loved how he carried himself. I don't know if
me
there's a
too.
spark between him and Anaya. I don't know if I feel that, but I
They're
did
just
really love
good.
him.
They're both also good. I put this in my notes. They're both good conversationalists. And
Yeah,
Anaya is definitely naturally shy, or like she's shy and awkward. I'm gonna say that. I think
yeah.
because she was very similar with Casey when they started, so I didn't think anything that she did or said was unusual. And I think Carl handled that well. I'm same as Jordan. I'm not like the biggest fan yet of their like connection, but I think that their conversations were nice, and I think Carl is genuine. So that's all I can ask for at this point. Um, but yeah, like the episode was fine. I don't feel like, I mean, everyone was like, kissing to explore. I think I was a little embarrassed by Tierra because I was just like, Tierra, honey, Casey's not your man. You just told him
Oh,
Anaya isn't his girlfriend, right?
is this when
Um,
like she got upset with him for wanting? Okay, that was important because the way she reacted was kind of crazy.
so at this point, Casey has spent a night with Tierra. So this conversation is based off that pretty much. Um, Tierra was upset because Casey was like, I'm interested in Sydney and I would like to share a night with her. What do you think of that? Tierra was not going for it at all. And she was just basically like, you know, I don't really like what's the purpose basically? What's the purpose of you doing that to explore Sydney? Um,
Mind you, she's known Casey for a day at this point, 24 hours. And she was just, like you said previously, she was just telling Casey, you don't owe anything to Anaya. You're not boyfriend and girlfriend. But yet you're acting as if you and Casey are boyfriend and girlfriend when he
and you've
says he
known
wants
him
to
for 24 hours.
for 24 hours. And I think someone, I'm jumping around a little here, but I think when Casey was telling the boys about it, Zach said she reacted worse than Anaya would have or
She did.
did. And I was like, valid because she literally started a whole argument over it. And at the end of the day, he still
And they
went and
both
did what
said
he
the same
did.
thing. They both said Tierra and Anaya. It's like one day after the other or a day apart. They basically have both said in this conversation, Tierra goes, do whatever you want. So at this point, as far as an exploring aspect, I know that Casey had played hopscotch with three different girls and their feeling. But at this point, Tierra's known him for 24 hours. I actually, although I don't believe in sleeping in a bed is going to like help you build a connection, the men this
Yeah.
season seem to think that that's the thing. And
They think that kissing is like helping them explore
being
their
physical is
connections,
the only
all
way.
of, exactly all of this, and it's like, no, conversations would help as well. That's why
Right.
your OG couples aren't even that strong, because they're spending so much time focusing on the physical aspects of the relationships, but yet you're not having vital conversations. But that's neither here
Right.
nor there.
So Tiara was mad, and I said in my notes, I said, "This is embarrassing." It is.
Yeah,
You haven't known him that long. Um, you don't really have a right to. You can be upset, but you can't cage him like that. Like you've not known him that long. You don't know him really now. It's only been a week, but you don't know him that well now. And I think in this moment, it was giving very much Bird because you had just told him that Anaya isn't his girlfriend. So I was like, I'm confused. Which one is it? And I said, it's giving pick me to the max in my notes because it was. I don't understand. I actually wasn't that mad at Casey because I mean, at least he said that he was like gonna share a night with Sydney. I just don't think it's necessary for him to get to know Sydney. But I wasn't really mad that he was doing that because I didn't know Tierra enough to care. But I think her response was very territorial over someone that she just met. I guess that was my
exactly.
take.
I think everyone felt that way, but
Yeah,
that
yeah,
whole thing is irrelevant. He didn't even Sydney. He slept with Sydney that one day. They had one conversation and it was a wrap after that. He did not
literally.
feel a vibe with her. He said that they were kind of just giving a friend vibe, which I could have told you that, but
I
no.
actually think too that they actually, I know that he said that, but this is just maybe a hot take. I actually feel like they had more in common though than him and Tierra because I think I want to say Sydney's a nurse as well.
Yeah,
Um,
or something in the medical
something in that,
field.
yeah. So I actually felt like their conversation was like better than Tierra's. Now, obviously, it was giving more friend, but I think the conversation was actually more. They had more substance.
Yeah, and I here's the thing with these men too. I think some of them are so focused on the initial attraction with someone in a conversation that if it's immediately a friend vibe, they're writing you off completely. And I get it to a certain extent because Love Island is such a fast-paced experience. Like you really don't have
Mhm.
time to like if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. But at the same time, there could be something there, but you're writing someone completely off just because you're like not completely attracted to them off rip. Um, I feel like which is hard because sometimes you kind of could lose something real if
Mhm.
you're basically writing people off. But that's
Right.
just my opinion.
And
That's
actually, the Casey and Cindy conversation, we jumped, but it's actually in the next episode because I honestly, all these Casa episodes just like they
oh yeah,
blurred together.
I knew it
I have
was.
more thoughts. I actually have more thoughts about the convo, but we can actually just go into episode 19 now.
Yeah, Tuesday night.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I was reading from my notes about their conversation, so I knew it was in this, but I was just saying like Tierra kind of reacted for no reason because
No,
like
no, I
nothing really
actually was going
happened.
with you because I thought that it had happened in that last episode, but yeah.
Yeah. But basically the episode kind of started off with Kinsey talking to her new guy Dylan. In the beginning, I didn't really care for him because I'm like, oh, he's a little
Really?
like in the beginning, I don't know. I just couldn't catch a vibe from him. I don't know.
I
And
felt like the girls, like when the cast pictures dropped, I felt like they were always going to keep him. Like I was like, they need to keep Dylan. I feel like Dylan's actually pretty attractive.
he's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't know what his personality was like. I couldn't
Fair.
gauge
That's
based off
fair.
their first conversation. So I was like, I don't know how I feel. I don't know. But and then Kenzie was like in her confessional, she's like, I think this guy, or I think she said something like this. She was like, I think he might be the one. And I was like, Kenzie thinks everyone is the one.
This girl's
Please.
talking about sugar and spice. Like, where did this conversation?
I don't even know. She
I was like, what is
like
she talking about? I
Kenzie
said,
is
Kinsey is
such
so wild in my notes. She is
she
wild.
she's wild. I can't tell if I love her or if I still don't like her. I feel like
Like,
she
I'm
gained
not
some
fully rocking with
points.
her. Yeah,
Yeah. I feel like she gained some points after this week, but sometimes she really just confuses
she
me.
just be wilding.
Yeah, but I'm like, she thinks everyone is the one. But okay, girl, I'll give you that. If you think Dylan's the one, Dylan's the one. But then it goes back to Casa, and
Corbin and
Caleb,
Permita. Oh,
Parmita, and Corbin are sitting on the couch. And mind you, like I said, first episode of Casa, Caleb and Parmita were a thing. And
right.
now Parmita and Corbin are vibing. And I wrote down, Caleb cannot have one thing for himself because here's Corbin. He's always going to be in the back coming in to
Always.
swoop Caleb's girls.
Like always like in the bag, ready to swoop in on his prey, like always. So, and poor Caleb. I mean, he's just a nice guy. He
Yes,
truly
poor
is just
Caleb, but no, because if you really wanted this girl, you would have fought harder. No shade. You just let Corbin swoop in and come take her. He did. There was no fight on his end. He just pivoted to Jaden, which is
listen. They can't
fair.
all be big dogs. Caleb's a puppy. Loves the
He's a
guy, but he's
puppy.
a puppy.
He he's a puppy, and it makes me so angry because I'm like, you are a bombshell. You take what you want. Go for it.
Literally, literally.
Anyways,
I said in my notes that I said y'all, I literally couldn't get over like Parmita is literally gorgeous. Like I was like her outfit's eating, like I don't know.
she's pretty.
Um,
And the
and I
fact that
said
they're both from Miami, I feel like it
I
makes
was
a little
like,
bit more sense.
it does. And I said at the time, guys, this is only Tuesday, so we've only known these people for 2 days. Don't judge me. I said at the time, she's the least pick me. Um,
Yeah, at the time.
at the time, yeah, at the time, guys, keywords at the time. Because I also said she's my favorite of the Costa girls at that moment, and it's funny because she says that Caleb is also husband material. So I thought that was an interesting comment. Um,
Yeah, because we can't forget that at this point, the Casa girls have seen everything that the guys have done to this
right,
point. So she's probably seen Corbin begging for kisses and doing his thing,
constantly in these triangles, right?
constantly in these triangles. So I can see why she would think Caleb is more husband material. I mean, granted, he is, but
Very much
I find it
so,
funny
and they're
that she
only a year
said that.
apart.
Right, right. I find it funny that she said that to Corbin's face. That was hilarious.
That was funny. I was like, Parmita, girl, don't make like at the time she was definitely my favorite Casa girl. I feel like Parmita is herself. I just think sometimes she's a little delusional, but
Yeah.
nonetheless,
We have to talk about really quickly too how they've already talked to each other and Corbin, or I don't know who ended the conversation first, but like that conversation quickly died. Someone ghosted the other. They've already been in contact, Corbin and Parmita.
yeah, the ghost thing. I thought that was interesting. I'm like, wow, this season has been the least of like I already know so and so because last year there
Mhm.
was a lot of people that like knew each other prior, like
A lot of
Shelly
people.
knew Amaya, Jeremiah knew Nick, so like there was a lot of
And then Ace and
connections already.
Shelly, there's like Ace and
Right,
Shelly knew of each other. We don't know like what's real, what's not with that, but like a
right.
lot of people are saying,
But a lot of people knew
yeah,
each other, so it was based on like jobs and
yeah,
stuff. This season, everyone I kind of liked that all the OGs at least like didn't really know each other. Like all of them, I
yeah.
think all of them pretty much didn't know each other. So,
Yeah,
like
because
the
there's no
only
expectations with that. Like, I
yeah,
feel like there were a lot of expectations for certain the people to be cool with each other based off knowing each other in season seven.
and
Because
they all were wrong.
exactly, they were all
None of
wrong.
those people like ended up being friends or together. So it's like
No, literally everyone from season seven hates each other. It's kind of funny.
I know it's comical.
It's kind
But
of
the next
funny.
conversation was Casey and Sydney. I know we did touch on this. I did feel like it was a better conversation than TT because Sydney seems a lot more chill. Um, and I feel like she's very just like she's just calmer than TT in general. But I was like, why do people keep having conversations about being physical? And I thought it was funnier that Casey admitted to being vanilla. I was like, why would you say that? You're on TV. Like, why could you say that?
Casey forgot a lot of times that he was on TV this
A
week.
lot of
Some of the
times.
things that were coming out of his mouth, I was like, do you know the camera is on you?
I was like, and then he continues to say, like, he's coupled with Anaya and he says that they're strong. He says he wants to keep pursuing her for now. And I, And then I said I spoke too soon because I said she's also low key giving pick me energy, because she was like, "You're wanted here," and I was like, "Yuck!" Actually,
See,
no.
just when you think that the Casa girls are not giving pick me, their pick me comes out. Their
They
pick me
will
shit comes
disappoint
out.
you.
Because no, because their entire job at the end of the day is to latch onto a guy to get back into the main villa. That is what they're here to do. There has to be some sort of desperation with these
Right,
girls. None of them
right.
are not desperate. Okay. Like there's a
All of them have a
yeah.
desperate trait or a thirsty trait or a pick me trait. Every single
And
one.
that's exactly why they're picked to be Casa girls. No shade against them, but let's call it for what it is. Like, if you're giving any source of desperation, the producers will put you in Casa.
Amen. And Casey says nothing is forced with Sydney. She's nice, energetic, and relatable. She's a nurse too. So I said that I think that they might be actually a little bit more compatible than him and TT, but whatever. He also said that being with the girls at Costa was like his favorite part. I was like, yeah, well, what else? Like, it's not gonna be the guys. So anyway, I just whatever. Then it pans back to Jen and Gall, and I don't know if you wrote anything about them, but
Wrote, because I wrote that Jen said she's good at cooking and she said salad. And I'm like, salad is not cooking, Jen. I'm sorry. Anyone can make a salad. And if you can't, I question you. That's all I
there's
wrote.
even salad kits. All you gotta do is throw everything in the bowl.
Exactly. So
Like,
that I don't have anything to say about them from
but
that
I am
conversation,
seeing
to
the
be
vision.
honest.
I feel like they're actually compatible, and aesthetically, I really like them. That's what I put.
I mean, they're
Um,
cute. Don't get me wrong. That's just the only
yeah,
thing I had to take away from that. I'm sorry, but
yeah.
the salad,
I said
that really blew me. Blew me.
no, and then they kissed or whatever at the end of their conversation. Then it pans to um, Ronnie and Mel.
I
Uh,
said, finally, Melanie is talking to a man and not the girls.
I was
Finally.
like, please. I was like, I need them to share a bed. I don't need any soul ties. They were talking about love languages, and Ronnie called Mel adorable. Um, and I was happy because I was just like, thank God the girl is putting herself out there. She's giving herself a chance. Um, and she at least and she actually during her Costa experience explored more than one person. So, you know, taking my
Yeah.
wins where I can get them. It was a decent conversation. Then it pans back to Sincere and Amora. Do we have any thoughts on this? I do have notes, but I
Said,
was just wondering.
I feel like Sincere is going back to his cheater ways once again because he can never not do too much when he's exploring. It
Ever.
always, and he even says this at some point during Casa. He's like, I feel like I have to give it my all 100% every time I explore. And I get that to a certain extent. But if you know that Melanie is the one you want in the back of your head, if you really want Melanie, why are you always crossing boundaries? There's a way to
Literally.
explore without crossing boundaries, and that's not what's it's not clocking to him, honestly. That's
At
the
all.
problem I have with Sincere. And the thing is, he always undermines what he's doing too. He's like, oh, I'm just
Mhm.
exploring. I'm not doing anything wrong. This is what we're here to do. Yes, that's what you're here to do, but you know who you want in the end. You're constantly crossing the line, and then you get upset when she does it too. So
You know
there's
what's
so
sad
much
though?
double standards.
You
What?
know what's sad? I think Sincere knows that he holds all the power in that situation because in his situation back at the villa, Melanie has taken him back. So now he knows he can get away with, and we'll definitely touch on this for like the end of the week, but I'm just saying this now too. I think Sincere knows that he has the power in that relationship, and that's the first problem. That's
That is the
um
first problem. Melanie
uh
has no power in that relationship whatsoever, and she could have hold it all, but she
right.
kept constantly gives it to Sincere every time,
And in his
every time.
conversation with Amora, he's complimenting her. He says she has emotional intelligence. I was laughing at that. She said he feels like home, and then they kissed as well. I was laughing at most of these conversations from Casa. No shade. Um, the back and forth between Melanie and Sincere, like with the production and how they were painting back and forth, I thought that was also funny.
Yeah, the
And then
production did that a
they
lot
were
with
playing, yeah.
Casa.
And then Sincere, I was like, epitome, really, really?
It's I hate when the Islanders misuse words like that.
It was
It
all over
gives
the internet. I had to bring it up. I was like,
exactly.
please,
I
please don't.
I hate when they do that because it really
Um,
gives uneducated sometimes when they use words that they mispronounce and don't understand. Anyways,
yeah. And then Casey and TT, like I said, I feel like she's very strict, like in how she moves. Um, like I
well,
said
it's
earlier,
hard because she came in for him, and
that's
she's
like
a
her only
very
option.
right, and she seems well. She has other options. She's just not
She does,
willing to
but
go
she
for
don't
it.
want, yeah, she don't want nobody else.
And I get being honest to yourself, but you can't hold him back either because he doesn't
Right,
owe
like
you anything.
right. You're not in for a day. Let's move, honey. Um,
Yeah.
and then, she said when she said who you're thinking about sharing a bed with, I said, this is sticky. I was like, this is like too much pressure, like too early. And he said that out of the two, he needs to share a bed with Sydney to see who he has the better connection with. I don't think that that's necessarily true, and I think that I kind of disagree, but whatever.
I disagree because you're not even going to talk to her when you go to bed. So what's the point? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right. Yeah,
Right?
like unnecessary completely. Um, and Casey said that, he feels like, I'm sorry, TT says that she feels like they're arguing, and Casey feels like they are not. Um, and when she said, do what you want to do, I was just like, here we go. And I said, she claims that she's not mad, but she's totally mad because she probably feels a little bit led on at this point, but there is no leading him on. There is no leading her on because she's not known him that long. So he
Exactly.
can't really, he couldn't have really led her on. But then it pans back to Kata, Jen, and Trinity. Jen likes golf. Kata says that Che is the whole package, even though she hasn't kissed him. And I put in my notes, I was like, Kata, if you bring up Zach one more time,
Yeah. I don't, this sounds so bad, but I find it hard to give grace to Kata sometimes because
oh
genuinely,
yeah,
you've up until this point, you've watched Zach do everything that he's done. He talks to you any kind of way, and you're still down bad about that man. He runs the show in their relationship. Like that's the problem with most of these relationships. The men are running the
right,
show. But that's the
right.
problem.
They have
Like
they have control, and when you give a man too, when you think, I'm sorry, when you give a man too much control and they know that they have it, is the problem. Um,
exactly.
and with Kata, a lot of behaviors that Zach has, she was like shown in 4K. Like it was happening while he was still in the villa as well. So it's not like his behavior now is all that different. Um,
Yeah.
Trinity says that her and Corey have a lot in common. They also kiss. She feels bad. She misses Bryce, and she will. I said that she'll choose Bryce in the end, and that is a fact. Um, that's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I think we knew they were going back to each other. That was a no-brainer for me. That was the only no-brainer
yeah.
for me because I think they built something that's really strong. I can't say the same for the other Islanders because I think the thing about Trinity and Bryce is that they communicate with each other so well. They tell each other when they're insecure, they tell each other when they want to explore. They talk about everything and they're very open and honest about how they feel and their
Mhm.
insecurities within their relationship. The other Islanders don't do that. Like things will come up and then they argue about it after.
Well, I will say this. I think, and this might be an unpopular opinion. I think a lot of what Casey and I went through pre Casa was a lot of people's interference. I don't really feel like, because to this day, like yes, the exploring thing was a bigger conversation than it needed to be, and they did need to communicate better. But the arguments and like the disagreements never really came from them. Like it just always felt like somebody was lurking or somebody like brought something up and then the other person had to like find out about it later or something and then they had to discuss it. It was very weird. So I feel like
But
things could have been better had everyone not been so involved and had they been more direct. But that's just
let's say
me.
the same token though, they instead of like communicating effectively, they never could. So yes, other people caused their arguments, but they weren't good at hearing each other either. They never could come to an
No, they weren't.
agreement.
That's why I was saying they should have been more direct about like their feelings. But that's just I think that that would have helped their communication a little
Honestly,
more.
even if people didn't interfere, I feel like this would have happened regardless because they're not good at communicating with each other. Like that's just what it comes down to.
They're not. They're not. I don't think that they're good at communicating with each other. I just think that a lot of their arguments didn't come from them. That's all I'm saying. Like
Yeah,
I don't feel like they and I think that it just made it harder because they already lack communication skills. I guess that's where I was
yeah,
coming from. But
yeah.
yeah, he's not.
We were just talked about Trinity Jane and Ada. I
So
think, sorry.
no, it's okay. I know Caleb and Jaden, they decided to share a bed. Zach says TT reacted worse than I. That's what we're talking about. I put that I was just like, I just, I'm just done with Zach. Like, I just
I've always
can't,
been done with Zach. I
I
was
just
done with
can't,
Zach after
like,
week two.
me too. I just, because you know what's also disappointing? Like, I was low key at the beginning, maybe not even low key. I was like trying to root for Zach because I liked Charlie, but he just, he's done everything wrong. So I just feel like about his journey, like
Yeah.
Kata aside, like I just don't feel like Zach is a great character in this. And I know he's not a character, but like I just feel like he's not the best person to a lot of people in there.
And you know what's crazy? Zach isn't even public enemy number one anymore because so much has happened this week. And it's
Girl,
like,
I
it's so
know.
bad because some of these men fall to the wayside because then another person will say
And they're
something and
not
do
even good men
something.
either. It's just because they're
They're
not relevant
not.
in the moment. Right.
They're not. Like, we cannot forget the fact that Zach is still terrible at the end of the day.
Right. Then it pans
But
back to Anaya. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, no, you
Go
can go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh,
No,
okay, okay.
yeah, you go.
Um, her and Carl had a conversation. Good conversation. I feel like they have a decent amount in common, so I never felt like the conversation was gonna go terribly. She did initiate the kiss with Carl, which I was like, I love this for you. In the
Yeah.
moment, I just wanted the girls to be up. You know what I mean? I needed them to like really put themselves out there and really give themselves a chance because with all the things and all the feelings that they've had this week, I really feel like they owed it to themselves. And I think production wanted them to explore. That was the whole point of them showing them the heart rate challenge to begin with. So I'm really happy that Anaya took the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. And Carl's a great guy. Genuinely
Mm-hmm.
nothing bad to say about Carl. Honestly, he's
Right.
amazing. He deserves love. Even if he
Yeah.
doesn't find it here, he deserves love.
Carl could have been on The Bachelor or like or he could have been on like Love is Blind or something, and I would still say the same thing. I think he's a great person. Like,
Exactly.
just like how Gabe could have been on like Too Hot to Handle, I feel like Carl could have been on like Love is Blind, and like everyone would have rooted for him. But anyway,
Yeah.
great connection with Carl. She said that it feels different with Carl, which makes sense because Casey and Carl have nothing in common. Like, no shade, but nothing in common.
Yeah, because Carl is older, he's more mature, he's lived more, he understands.
Physically, they also have nothing in common. They have
Oh
no
yeah, they
similar
don't look
jobs,
alike.
nothing
Yeah.
like there's nothing about them that's similar. So I didn't even take it as like a dig. I just feel like they are completely
I
different.
didn't think it was a dig either, because at this point, Anai doesn't know anything about Casey and
Right,
what he's
right.
doing or what he's saying. So I genuinely was just thinking, like, she just feels different with Carl, which naturally, like we said, she would, because
Yeah,
Casey
I
and
would hope
Carl are
so.
very different. Right.
Yeah,
Different backgrounds, everything.
personalities,
Right.
like
Carl's Asian, Casey's black. Like, I don't know. Like, there's nothing similar in the slightest.
not at all. But good for
Right.
her. Good for her for putting herself out there.
Can I
Go
say
ahead.
something? I don't know. Still so taken aback by Sincere. At this point, I had just had a thought. Why do they keep giving Sincere confessionals?
Because he keeps saying dumb stuff. Like, I mean, guys, I'm
So
getting kind of
tired of
upset
Sincere and his confessionals. Oh my
because all he
gosh.
does is relate these women to objects. If you relate a woman to ice cream or a bow
Or
or
a
a sunset
fish.
or a fit, like, what are you talking about?
Never,
What
he's
are you
not
talking
talking
about?
about anything.
I
And
think
that's
that they
why I'm
keep
like,
doing it on purpose. I think they're
no,
doing
they
because
do. They do.
they
I was
do.
like, why? Why do we keep
Like he
giving him
doesn't
room
say
to talk?
anything important at all in these confessionals, but he keeps comparing these women to everything except just saying like what the facts are. Like I don't understand these weird
Sorry.
analogies, please.
I had to throw that in there because clearly I was upset about something Sincere said.
Girl, we were all upset. I was like, please stop this. Like I cannot. But yes, Casey is telling Sincere and Zach he's more attracted to TT than Sid, and I said he's all over the place. He is. Um, And then Zach said he doesn't want a TT situation with Alana. I was like, all right, that's mad
Alana,
shady.
no, because one, Alana is completely different. Two, he always has some underlying comment to say about the black girls. I've peeped him a lot actually
Yeah, yeah,
because I don't know if it's something that's unconscious or something like that, but he had every time he said something shady about a black woman, including his own partner, Kata, because she's Haitian,
right.
because
She's
her him
biracial, but
calling
she's Haitian.
right, him calling her aggressive, I peeped that. Like, I don't know
No,
what
girl,
it is.
we all sat back in our chairs. We were like, whoa.
Right, right. I hate to make everything a think piece about race, but sometimes it low key is. Like,
We
why?
need to wake it up
Right.
because at the end of the day, this cast is highly diverse. So and
Exactly.
I would say in the last few seasons it's been highly diverse and the audience has gravitated towards the diversity because of representation. And I think that it's important to acknowledge the things that go on in real life that are in a smaller scope environment that happen on the show. So honestly, wake it up. Wake it up. He's weird. He's weird about his commentary around black women. I'm not a fan.
Exactly.
The boys are wondering if the Villa girls are even thinking about them, and I said, "Well, no, they aren't."
I mean, some of them are. I will say,
But
so I'm gonna skip around because, like,
yeah,
so
at this point, none of them were because they all had been like with their like getting to know people.
I think Trinity was the only one at this point who was like
Yeah,
upset
but I
and
don't even
crying.
count her. I don't even count her. I'm just like because I feel like before I went into Casa, I was like, likely Bryce and Trinity won't move. So I feel like everyone else though was at least putting like
Expecting her to
more.
cry though. Like, she
That
completely
was
broke
wild.
down. I felt so bad for her because I'm like, there's no way that you think. Because, like, and here's something I will say, because this actually irritated me on the internet because people were saying, like, the only reason Bryce isn't talking to people is because no one wants him. I don't think that's true because I've seen multiple conversations of girls telling him, oh, you're not, like, really trying to, like, explore and talk to us. And he's like,
Mhm.
I'm just thinking about Trinity. So I don't think that's true. I find it funny that she was that worried about Bryce switching up and going back to a white girl when there's been multiple white girls to come through and he's not
Yeah,
like
that's
even
true.
like, and I feel like people were saying that they put Jin in there just to see if he would like switch up because they obviously knew each other, so obviously if he was going to do so it would be easy for him to couple up with her because they had already
Mhm.
known each other. And I'm like, if he
Mhm.
didn't move then I don't really see why you would think he would move
Yeah.
now.
Well, also,
So,
no shade, but I think people are saying that, and I'm just trying to like get the whole scope of the situation. Jen was no one's type, so it's not like I mean, we could say Bryce, but literally none of the guys were pursuing her except Gabrielle. So like
Yeah.
I want to say like yeah, they might have put Jen in there for Bryce. That might be true, but if we're honest, none of the guys were interested in her like that. So I don't want it to seem like yes, Bryce wasn't interested, but I don't think that that was like a wow moment for me just because I felt like Bryce in Casa, I kind of knew none of the girls would get to know him, but not from like a Bryce is like insecure kind of thing. I genuinely think Casa this year was made for Casey. So I
I
I
I
just
don't I don't think it was like them not wanting to get to know him. I was think Tay was not wanting to get to know them. Because
yeah,
I think Sydney would have tried. I think she did try to
she
like,
did,
yeah,
but I still think Casa was made for Casey. Like I genuinely think the whole exploring storyline because Bryce didn't have that with Trinity. So I just feel
yeah,
like and even without us talking about Bryce, I still think production put all those girls in there because Sydney still got to know Casey as well. So that's why I'm like, I don't think it was necessarily people like because people beg because we have to remember the public begs for like people to come in so that way the like whoever needed to explore could, the girls
yeah.
included. And I just feel like production literally threw like some of these girls in there specifically because Casey hadn't really explored at that point. That's just my perspective. Not saying that they didn't want to get to know other people like Bryce. Like I do think Sydney was going to take her chances wherever she could, but I think also I think that there was more of that storyline following Casey and Anaya than Bryce and Trinity. Bryce and
Yeah.
Trinity had their own thing, you know?
And I think that just goes back to my point of like I was just surprised that she was crying because I never thought
Yeah, me
that
too.
he, if anything, I thought she was going to be the one to leave him. I never thought that he was going to be the one to leave her.
Right.
So like just the fact that because everyone was getting onto Bryce about being insecure about her like going to her original type, which is black men. But like I think it was nice that we got to see that Trinity is also like insecure about it too. Like it's not just a him thing, it's a her thing, and they're working on that together. But that's
And
neither
that's
here nor
totally
there.
normal. Like, I think that that's totally normal. The conversations that they have about interracial relationship is totally normal to me. Like, I don't really feel like, I think it's natural, I guess, to be a little insecure and a little bit, you know, just nervous about starting that kind of new journey with somebody, especially if you haven't been in an interracial relationship. I think it's normal, you know?
Yeah.
And I also feel like, okay, I have to get to this because this was such a big moment in the episode. Casey says him and Corbin will be breaking hearts, and he says he has nothing in common with Anaya. I was like, all right. I think that this comment blew the whole internet up. And that's why I'm talking about it.
I feel like
Um,
I don't know if this is the episode two, because I feel like Corbin and Casey had a conversation every episode, but is this the episode where he was saying his stocks were going up in the villa if he brings back Tierra?
hold on.
I don't know if it was that this episode or that one. I just feel like it was a culmination of things that
Yeah,
Casey said,
honestly,
honestly.
I can't even put my finger on which episode, but yes, he did say that. And honestly, I wasn't like super offended. I did put in my notes. I was just like, all right, they're just incompatible and that's fine. But I don't think the statement in the context of what they were talking about, I don't know yet if the statement was necessarily bad. I just feel like him saying that like they'll be breaking hearts was the wrong way to lead up to that. I also feel like you can have nothing in common with somebody and still like them. Like I think that that's not that serious. But what I will say is, I also put in my notes. I was like, he does not think before he speaks
He
ever.
was
Like
I think what's the problem is he just talks. He doesn't think. He forgets he's on
ever.
camera. He says all these things and I'm glad he's saying it because we can see who he really is and how he really feels. I'd rather know how you really feel than sit in your face and you just be blah blah blahing in my face. I don't care. I want everyone to be honest about how they feel. So I'm glad we're getting
Right.
to see it for what it is. I hate that Anaya doesn't know.
Well,
That's the big kicker.
Yeah.
But
Well, what I will say, well, like I said too, though, you can have nothing in common with somebody and still like them. Because I don't know if Anaya would think the same thing. But anyway, I'm gonna like quickly say these 3 points and then we can move on to the temperatures rising challenge. So Melanie said that she does go chemistry with Corey. Corbin, if the camera pans back to Corbin and Casey, he says that he would have picked Permita over Kinsey if it was them in the starting lineup together. And he says the Costa girls are better because they're more open than the Villa girls. And I just said a conversation between him and Casey is never good because Casey then says he feels the same because TT pursued him and he feels that that's the way it should have been and not by default, like with Anaya. He feels the physical attraction more with TT because Anaya didn't pick him first. Basically, so Corbin and Casey were having a conversation, and he said that he would have picked Parmita over Kinsey if they had been in the starting lineup together, which was super obvious. He says the Casa girls is way better because they're more open than the Villa girls. And I just knew from then on it was not going to be like it's never good between Casey and Corbin. But anyway, Casey says he feels same because TT pursued him and that he would have chosen TT probably over Anaya in the beginning. He feels that way. He feels that it should have been that way and not by default, like with Anaya. He feels the physical attraction is more natural with TT because Anaya did not pick him first. And I immediately wrote, I'm getting angry.
so
So
here's
yeah,
the thing with Casey.
let's get to
Everything
it.
everything stems from that first day where Anaya stood behind Sincere's door instead of Casey's door. That's what it's giving, because that's his argument for everything. Literally every time his connection with Anaya is mentioned, he's always like, well, you didn't pick me, or she didn't pick me. The first day. The first day. Mind you, she doesn't know you, doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't matter if she picked you that day or not. But the
Right.
next day, she did pick you because she
Mm-hmm.
could have had the option to go with Gabrielle and
Mm-hmm.
see what all that was about, but she chose to stick with you. She chose to stick with you when y'all recoupled. She chose to stick with you when you wrote the letters. She's picked you every day since, and he's so torn up about the first day when they had no idea who each other were. I don't
Yeah.
understand where all
Yeah.
this vim comes from. I really don't. It honestly
Um,
makes me so upset too. Sorry, I'm like going on a tangent. It honestly makes me so upset too because you literally don't have a valid argument. That if that's your only argument, it's not valid. I digress. I'll let you go.
um, okay. In this moment, I was very upset as well. I didn't feel like, at the end of the day, both Anaya and Casey were together by default. Anaya didn't do that to him. It was just something that happened, and it was an unfortunate circumstance because both of them never got their pick of the litter, and that's just the bottom line. I can't even, in some ways, I know that everyone's kind of saying like you didn't. I've seen this go around like Casey didn't pick Anaya either, but technically none of the guys did. So I don't feel like that's really an argument either. Because the only people that got to choose were if they had more than one girl, hence sincere, whatever. So
And Sarah was the only one, by the way,
about to
who got to
say,
pick. He was the
so
only guy who got to pick that night. So
right.
that's not
So
even.
it's not even an argument. I have seen that go around though. My opinion does change a little bit with Casey using that as his only argument. I think that that's the wrong argument. And I'm going to get into that when we get to the Costa recoupling because I think that that's the wrong argument because all that's doing is just showing insecurity. But the argument, actually, I'll get to that when we get to the Costa recoupling because then it'll make more sense.
I
Anyway,
was
didn't
gonna
like
say
that he said
because
that.
Casey, that's not the right argument, but that's the only thing that he brings up as to why he does the what he does. That's
Well,
literally
that
every time it always stems from
that
that.
and something else. He brings up something else, and that's why I said I'm going to get to it because it's going to make more sense in the Costa setting or in the recoupling setting. He does bring up something else, and Anaya's response kind of tells me what I need to know. But anyway, I'm going to get to
Okay.
that later because it's going to make more sense at the Costa Rica fling. But anyway, in this moment, he only brought up that didn't pick me first, and I'm like, you need to get over that.
It's irrelevant. I'm
It
sorry, it's
is.
irrelevant at
It's a
this
mute
point.
point. Anyway, temperatures rising challenge. Villa versus Casa.
Wrote down before this, I'm like, I hope the Villa takes every point. I'm sick of
Me
the men. I'm
too.
sick of
Me
the men.
too. I was praying that they would. Um, and in the end, you see how it all plays out. So temperatures, the temperatures rising challenge is the first people that go is Melanie versus Sincere. Melanie and Corey and Sincere and Amora. They had Lick as their thing or whatever, and the Villa won. Next, it was Zach and Kata, Kata and Che, like their couple, and versus Zach and Alana. Theirs was Kiss. The Villa won that too, which means Melanie and Kata at this point had won for the Villa.
Can
Uh,
I just say too, Zach and Sincere were freaking out at this point, even though they have done much worse. At
no, and
this
I
point,
literally put in my notes. I said under Zach and Kata, I said he won't bring Alana back. I think in that moment I was like, that won't happen.
I never thought he was bringing Alana back. I just
Me
want to put that
either.
out there.
Me
I think
either.
his decision definitely got made easier too when she was dumped
Right.
because we're not just going to slide past the fact that, like, maybe he didn't even like Alana. Maybe that was just something for him to do
Like an
while he was away
attraction.
from
Yeah.
Kada. Right. I never thought he was bringing her back. But I will say, I feel like a lot of what he did was undermined. One, because she was dumped from the villa, and
Mhm.
two, we were also focused on everyone else. Like he wasn't
Right.
the biggest problem this week for once. But I digress.
Right. Then it was Jen and Caleb. It was them against each other. It was their couples. Gall and Jen versus Caleb and Jaden. It was the tickle challenge. The Villa won that too. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then it was Anaya and Casey. It was Casey versus TT versus Anaya and Carl. It was a dance challenge. When I tell you, I was cringing. As someone, I don't know if y'all know this, but fun fact, I used to dance. So, like, bad dancing just makes me cringe out anyway. And I cannot lie. Carl and Anaya cannot dance, but it is okay.
I don't think they were even trying to, if I'm honest. From
They
what I
weren't.
saw, it was they were just trying to make it as raunchy as possible.
I was laughing
I feel
so
like
hard
right, I feel like Casey and TT were like actually like trying to
dancing.
dance. So I can see
Yeah.
why they won that round.
Yes. So, like Jordan just said, Casa won that round. I said,
Sorry.
but
Oh,
oh no, no, no.
oh
You're
okay.
fine. You're fine. You're fine. I was just continuing with that. Because that's what I was gonna say next anyways. Yeah, no, so Costa won that round and I put in my notes, I was like, they both couples to me can't dance, all shade, like no shade, but all shade.
Yeah,
Um
Casey and TT, like they were
weren't great
actually
either.
dancing though. They weren't
Yeah,
because I feel like a Carlin and I weren't dancing.
yeah. They were just ripping each other's off.
Exactly. I was like, okay, next.
I was like,
Anyways,
oh. Then Trinity and Bryce. It was Bryce and Sydney versus Trinity and Ronnie, and they had suck. And I put in my notes, I said Trinity's a freak. But anyway, Casa won.
yeah,
I felt
and
bad for her. She was like, "Man, I did all this, and they won. Like, it's crazy."
yeah,
Um,
next,
right. Then it
next.
was Kenzie and Corbin. It was Corbin and Parmita versus Kenzie and Dylan. Theirs was Nibble. Casa won.
Hang the photo of Dylan looking into the camera while Kinsey is kissing him on the cheek in the Louvre. That was
I'm
funny. Why
crying.
was he mogging at the camera? That was funny. I'm not even gonna lie, that was hilarious.
Dylan just kept like winning points for me
He,
throughout his time in
no, the
Casa.
way he kept looking at the camera and mogging, I was like, "Who are you? You're funny. I'll give
He's
you
on
that."
serious, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And I after that I said Kenzie's definitely done with Corbin. Not that I didn't believe that
oh,
before, but definitely
and
after that
dare I
challenge.
say, Dylan and Kinsey should have won that round. Dare I say?
They should have.
Dare
Okay.
I say? Yeah.
So anyway, it was a tie between the Villa and Casa. So they did a freestyle round where everyone was just going for everybody. And basically the Villa won. So I was like, yes, the girls won. It's what they deserved. They would have won in my eyes anyway, but I'm so happy that they proved to the guys like you're not all you think you are. Because they need the humbling. We all know that. Corey and Trinity, I
Wait,
just
we do have to say something before
oh
we
go
get
ahead.
to them. Casey. as he did, as he always does, made a stupid comment. And he
Oh
said
wait,
in
what did he
his
say?
confessional, he said, I feel like the girls in the villa are giving the new guys what we should have gotten. And a lot of people had something to say about that because, of course, I don't know if it's editing or if he actually said this like after like all the sexual challenges had come, but people were alluding to the fact like, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you feel like you should be getting from the girls in the villa that the Casa guys are getting now? Like, because this is how they put it in after,
There
like
was
they
a
did
lot
the
of
whole.
allusions. There was a lot of like allusions to like uh often I found this not just with Casey, but like all the guys in Costa have made comments about like what either, I mean, it kind of happens every year about what they weren't getting in the villa, but also I would say like I feel like there's a weird expectation in the villa based on what they're saying. I'm not blaming anything on the girls, so I don't want anything to like, but I'm just saying that like they keep saying that like the Casa girls are so much better for the Villa girls, and it seems to be because the Villa girls are like tying them all down. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know where because a lot of them have made comments at different points, and I don't know what Casey thinks they should be getting. I have no idea, but
Yeah,
I just feel
I
like
don't know. I just a lot of people were upset that he made that comment among everything
yes.
else because there's so
Mhm.
many things that he said that have rubbed people the wrong way this week. I just didn't want to skip past that because it was a think piece on my timeline.
Oh no, no, no. You should like that was good because I actually forgot to write that down. I think it was just because like when I'm taking these notes, I feel like there's so much going on and I don't want to miss anything. But yes, thank you for writing that down because that is definitely a big point in this week. My goodness. Um, so anyway, are we good to talk about Corey and Trinity?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So I was just gonna say, it's very obvious that she's not interested. And basically, I just put Corey can move on to Melanie. And he had a conversation with Melanie. And Mel said, she would still explore. He says, there's a lot of things that she doesn't see. Love that for her. But also, I feel like at the end of the week, it kind of backfired, but whatever. Um, uh, she said that it's not her first time she's heard that. And
And
I
you would
put in,
think, Melanie, if that's not the first time you've heard that, what are we doing,
okay,
hun? What are we
okay.
doing, babe? Anyways, that continue. I'm just saying
Oh no,
that
because I put in
that
my
was
notes. I said right then and there. I said, Melanie, you will get played again. Right after that.
exactly exactly
Um,
like don't be a
and he
bird.
said, right, and he says he thinks she could do better than Sincere, and he wants her to give him a chance. Um, I will say, I think Melanie did give Corey a chance. I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna say that she didn't, but the
He
fact that she
did.
went. I feel like the fact that she went into that conversation basically saying like, "Oh, this isn't the first time I've heard that." Sincere's been acting up behind my back. Like, girl, girl, girl.
Right.
I'm gonna need you to start making different decisions. I really do. But next, it was Sincere and Amora, and Sincere says Amora is a great listener. He wanted to open up and put his guard down, and she makes it feel easy. Um, she's feeling a lot of feelings at this point. They did kiss, and he says that he likes her. Um, I don't really know what to say about this. I feel like Sincere, just the way in which he moves, this was to be expected. All shade. This was to be
Uh,
expected, and
you
that's
really
just what it
can't
is.
expect anything less from Sincere at this point.
Literally,
He has
he has
showed
a
us time.
pattern.
He has a pattern. He showed it time and time again. There's nothing new with him. I'm desensitized at this point when it comes to Sincere. He does the same thing every time. Every
He
time.
does. I don't even know. I can't even act shocked anymore. I'm just kind of like, it is what it is. So moving on, I think it's episode 20 now, or unless you
Yeah.
have another note. Okay.
I don't have another note. Sorry. I was
All
like
right.
reading.
Oh no, you're fine. I just want to make sure we were able to I didn't miss anything. So
No, you're good.
so Che and Kata in this episode. They talk about their family, cultural weddings.
Thought their conversation about like this one specifically was so cute.
Me
I wrote
too.
down, Kata, if you can hear me, please recouple. I don't think she heard me. But
Sure, like that girl, it was on mute when you were
yeah.
talking to her. I don't know.
No, clearly the phone, she blocked me, clearly. But
Right. She didn't get that phone call.
she didn't get the phone call. But I thought this was such a cute and healthy conversation. I think
Me
Che is
too.
amazing too. Sometimes he's forgettable for me just because I feel like they don't show Kata in him as much, and he was like the only one that she was really vibing with. But
Mhm.
from what I've seen of them, I really liked them.
I
You know,
really, yeah. As far as like Costa guys, I would say I like Dylan, Che, and Carl the most. I just really feel like they're actually offering something to the villa at this point, and they really had something to offer those girls. But anyway, bird behavior.
nothing
Because she got to
new.
bring up Zach every 5 seconds. I'm like, girl, lock in, like lock in.
Okay, so
Um,
with Kata, it's also hard because her and Zach have been intimate at this point. So that brings
yes,
a whole new wave of feelings. They've gone to the hideaway. And after you go to the hideaway, traditionally couples do close off. That is a thing. But since it was so early, like it didn't really make sense for
that's
them
why I
to
feel like
close off.
production. Yeah, that's why I feel like production should never have put the hideaway at week 2. Like, why? What
It
was
was
the
just
purpose?
something to do. I just
Right?
feel like it was literally just something to do. And I think that's
Like, no
the
dates? Where are the dates?
no dates. Like, why are we jumping right into this? Okay, anyways, it's getting weird. But I think that plays with my a part of Kata's decision always. Like, she's always thinking about Zach because they have like basically done
Been
all the
intimate.
things,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know. I try to give every girl some grace in a sense
Me
because I'm
too.
like, I I understand why you feel this way and why you keep thinking about him. But at the same time, there's so many reasons as to why you should just move
Hmm.
on. I can't help
Right.
you with that, but like
Girl.
there's so many reasons why. Like I
You
get what
know,
your heart is saying, but be logical too. Is this gonna work out well in the end? That's how you have to think in these
exactly. And
instances.
like, I love Kata, so I think I just wanted her to like be open because I feel like out of all the girls, even including Melanie, I kind of feel like she was like, I mean, the most reserved in terms of like when she explored, it was mostly conversations. So I think that, and I think that Che's just a nice guy. So I kind of just wanted him to like feel like he was wanted.
Yeah.
And I feel like, with Kata, it is difficult because she has already been intimate with Zach, which is why I more or less blame production and less Kata for this energy. However, because they're the one that put the hideaway there, right? They didn't open it up themselves. So at the end of the day, I think that I just wanted Kata to just kind of let her guard down and just let loose for the time being. But I know it's hard. Um,
Yeah.
and speaking of Zach, it pans right back to Zach and Alana. Zach is
At
thinking
this
about
point,
Kata.
I was like, why is Alana still on the screen?
Girl, I don't know. Because we were halfway through the week, and I said, I just.
I think
She actually
production.
didn't leave till the end of the week either, which is actually crazy.
I know. Because they're quick otherwise. But I feel like I'm gonna be honest, I think they needed her for some of the challenges because like the
Mhm.
dynamic would have been off. Like I think they were trying to keep it even. And I think they knew Zach wasn't bringing her back anyway. So they were like,
They were just
just
like,
keep her
girl,
till the
just
end of the week and she will
right.
just send her home before the recoupling. I don't know.
Yeah, so Jen and Gall wants to talk to Kinsey. Jen hasn't spoken to anyone else at this point. She said that men are annoying, trying to poke the bear. Listen, I need Kinsey with Dylan and I need Jen with Gall. That's where I'm
I don't
leaving that
think
at.
Gaul likes Jin like that.
I don't either, but that's what I need for the time being. Because Gall, let's be so for real. Jen won't stay that much longer as far as a
Yeah.
female Islander anyway. And
Honestly, let's be even more for real. The four of them could leave and I would be
right,
fine. Like,
the show isn't about you, babe. So
right,
go
like
ahead.
their
Yeah.
side, I hate to say this, but their storyline is like a side platter. Like, you are the mac and cheese, you are the green beans, the rest of the
Right.
girls are the steak.
Right.
I
Like
hate
the
to
fried
say that.
chicken, the steak.
Right,
Like
like that's
you're literally shoot, they're not even the mashed potatoes, the macaroni, or the green beans. They're literally like the drink.
They're like the roll, the bread.
Right. Right. Just the appetizer bread. Right.
Yeah.
Um,
And
exactly. So
Caleb and Jaden, like that was
same
their
thing.
same thing. Like, yeah.
Just flat, right?
Yeah, like
So,
y'all are just there at this point.
right. So, Jen is irritated at this point. She's talking about it with Trinity, and Kenzie and Gal go have a conversation. Gal says he's shy. Kenzie doesn't want to be with Corbin anymore. I was like, yeah, we know that. And she wants to get to know Gal. And I was like, Jen is your girl, okay, but she likes Dylan. Um, I don't know. I don't feel like Kenzie's really anyone's girl in there. I kind of just feel like Kenzie just is Kenzie.
Yeah, and that's like one of the problems that I have with Kinsey. Like
Me
she was
too.
fine this week, but at the end of the day, I feel like I don't even know if she likes Gaul, but she just likes to have a backup option and at the
Mhm.
expense of the girls in there. Like it's not really about Gaul. It's about if Dylan messes up, then she has someone
Right,
else to go to. I've seen that
right.
pattern with her where she'll always have
Often.
somebody on the side,
She
which
likes it there.
yeah, but at the expense of the other girls too, because it was the same thing
Right.
when it was the Melanie and Corbin situation. Mind you, that was probably never going to be a thing, but it's still the premise of that Melanie was being respectful. She wasn't getting to know Corbin because of you. Yet you're kissing Caleb and you're kissing Corbin, but you're mad at Melanie for talking to Corbin. But you don't want Corbin, you want Caleb, and now you want Corbin. Like it's yeah, you know what I mean? Like
That girl
it
played.
gets
She asked for a cowboy. Caleb was right there, and she still didn't pick him. So now she's in her feelings, obviously about Corbin. But it's like now you want to have Gaul and Dylan. Girl, pick Dylan. Pick Dylan.
right. And then you're still a little salty about Corbin. Like, I don't care what she says, she's still a little salty about Corbin too.
She
So
is.
it's just
She is.
like you have your,
Well, you know
you
what
have
it is too. Everyone's trying to get their lick back and have their moment. So at
Corbin
this
is not the
point,
person who would care though. He was
yeah,
so, okay, we're getting to that.
we're
It's
getting
just a
there.
lot of buildup. It was a
I
lot of
know.
buildup.
This week was a lot because it's a lot of couples to like go through. But Trinity decided to sleep in Soul Tides and not with Ronnie that night. Um, I said in this moment, I said, like I said, Zach isn't bringing anyone back. Amora says that everything is working out perfectly with Sincere.
Laura, she is hilarious. And I don't know if this is true, but I did see a comment that someone knows her. They commented on an Instagram post and they said that she is lesbian and that
Mhm.
she is here to scam and basically build her influencer career.
Scam on,
And the fact that she's scamming with Sincere, I respect it. I stand
right,
with you, girl. I stand
right.
with
Bring
you.
her back
I
today.
Mind you, that may not even be true. That's just what I saw on the internet. But if that is true, I think that's hilarious. I'm sorry. And the fact that she was like doing her makeup and she's like, everything's going to plan. Like it was giving
I
Dr.
love her.
Doofenshmirtz evil scheming.
Right. Because she
Like,
knows good. She knew good and well. Sincere likely wouldn't pick her, but
yeah.
but
She you could tell she was scamming the entire time.
you
Cause
could
she's like
tell.
in one of their conversations, she's like, I just take things as a sign and I knew it was right to couple up with you. Like, girl, you played. You are
Talking about a
funny.
butterfly. I could not.
She's funny. I'll give her that. She became a favorite quickly because
And you
from
know
the
what?
Casa
She was so
Girls.
unbothered. She was so unbothered that whole Casa too. So I'm like, you know what? Bring the girl back. I need to see her again. Um, Sincere then says he's got to be touchy feely to know if it works. I think he said this in front of all the guys. I'm like,
And I said, and I wrote, Sincere, you do not have to do that. You can get to know someone by talking. Said this multiple times, but I keep having to reiterate it. Again, the call, he must have blocked me because it's not working. Like, I can't get through to this guy.
right,
Like,
muted
no
you
one can.
immediately.
Muted me immediately. Like, what are we doing?
Right, no hesitation at all. Hit the mute
Yeah.
button. But you know what? I think across the board, the entire villa thinks that. Like, I think everyone's under the impression that they have to like be physical in order to be. Obviously, the guys are way more overly going with that concept, but I think the girls like low key think that too. And I'm like, y'all literally, we've been through casas where like the girls have never like touched the casa men and vice versa. Well, him.
Exactly.
But you know what I mean? Like it's not required. This isn't like it's not written in the requirements that you have to do that.
Exactly.
And then Corbin and Casey. The first thing I put was, why are they still talking? I don't know why production keeps showing them. I'm not interested. I'm really not.
Well, this is something we need to talk about, right? Because a lot of
Mhm.
people have peeped that Casey feels the best. He feels comfortable enough to be his full self and say whatever he needs to say with Corbin specifically. There's a reason why those two are always linking up and saying what they have to say to each other because they feel comfortable. Casey would never go and say some of the things he says to the other men because at the end of the day, it's going to get back. And I which way. Corbin is one person who's not gonna say anything. He's like a vault when it comes to him and Casey's conversation. He's not gonna say anything. But the other men, however way you want to put it, like Sincere has told things that Casey has said to Anaya before. Bryce tells Trinity everything, and Trinity will go back to Anaya. Zach, you don't even have to tell him anything. He like senses something, and he goes and tells the whole villa. Like genuinely, Corbin is the only person that Casey feels comfortable enough to be his true, authentic, horrible self
Well,
with.
because if we're looking at it in the grand scheme of things, I mean, Casey was never safe prior to Casa. So these are all things that happened before Casa.
Exactly.
So I mean, he's not. And at that point, I mean, fair play. Because honestly, if it was like, I'm just putting myself in the position, like if I felt like other people were gonna run their mouth, like fair play. I don't. That doesn't mean what they're saying is necessarily of substance or that needs to be said. Like I still think their conversations are really stupid,
They're not
but
even just stupid, just disrespectful too.
yeah, like I still think all of those things, but as far as like him going to Corbin, everyone's got to have someone on the island, so whatever. Um anyway, Corbin said that the Villa girls are so high school and the Costa girls are college girls. Um
I
then he
mean, fair
said,
because they're all older, but they
yeah,
yet they still act like
the
children.
internet blew up
Anyways,
about that, but if I'm honest, like those girls are years older than the Villa girls. So they're at a different point in life. So I mean,
I think, and I think he's just trying to reiterate his point that he thinks Sevilla girls are cliquey. I don't see how, because at this point, all of
yeah.
them are friends. Like even the blondes are in the loop. Like all
Hmm.
of them are friends at this point, so it's not a clique. If we're talking about the Soul thing, Soul isolated herself. I'm just gonna say that.
Well, they
Like,
also brought up Melanie and Sincere and their dynamic, and I honestly didn't even think they were wrong. I didn't. I was like, they're not wrong. Melanie is gonna go back to Sincere. Like all will be the cycle will keep going with them.
I
And
mean, yeah,
you
that
know,
everyone knows that. That's not
right.
anything new.
Yeah, so there we go. And then Jen wants, I think it goes back to the villa. So Jen wants Gaul to be obsessed with her. Um, and then I don't know if Mel is as open as she says that she is. At this point, she wasn't like as open to the experience. Um, just an observation. Um, but I don't know if I skipped over this, and I don't know if it's in this episode or not. But but Anaya and Melanie at some point very early on in the Casa, the whole Casa thing, were saying how much they miss Sincere and Casey.
That was the second night when the guys first got there.
Okay, I knew it was early on. I just couldn't remember. Um, yeah, they. I honestly think that the public thinks that these girls are robots. Um, these people are not Sims; they're real people. So, like, you have to remind yourself that even though, and I'm just saying this for going forward, not necessarily about the two girls, but I think that you have to remember that like people's feelings don't move at the same pace as yours. The Love Island environment is created and designed so that way your feelings can increasingly be stronger at different points rather than in the real world. So, as far as Melanie and Anaya making those comments, you have to remember at that point it had only been a day. So they weren't as open in the beginning because they never, at least this is how they normally do Casa, they never let anybody say bye to anybody. So it's kind of just like they rip away your couple, no matter if you're in a good spot like Bryce and Trinity, or you're in your worst spot like Casey and Anaya. So it's difficult because you're still working through some of these feelings. So I just wanted to mention that because I know a lot of people thought they were birds for saying that, and honestly, I don't think that's an unfair take because feelings, that's not how it works. Like you're not just going to get over someone just because new guys are shoved in front of your face. So
I I I think it's unfair, but I also did think that they were being a little birdie. No shade, because because of what the guys had shown them up into that point, and since Mel and or Casey and I were in a good place, I was like, I get that you miss him, but like it's time to focus on this experience because he's focusing on his phone. Like, and
true.
that's how
Oh, that's true.
just how I felt. But it is unfair for people to like expect them to get over it quickly. I didn't expect them to get over it quickly, but I do feel like you have to focus on you. You can't focus on him.
Well, you know what, too? We were being shown like their side,
Yeah.
So I think like for me, I was just kind of like, because this is also going to boil down into the end of Casa, but we know more than they do, right? The dramatic irony of it all, we know more than they do. So like at that point, I was like, sincere, yes, has definitely played in Melanie's face. So at that point, I was kind of like, with her, I was a little bit like, I don't know. Anaya, they didn't end on a good note, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like she was just going to get over it the next day like people expected her to. But we also knew more at that point about what had been said about her. So we just wanted her to be over it. So I totally understood the outrage in that, but I also felt like we have to be fair. Like they don't know. So at least Anaya didn't. So um yeah, I guess that's where I was coming from with that. But okay, so this is an important conversation. So I'm just gonna like touch on it. We can like continue it in the next segment. But Anaya, Kenzie, and Kata all were having a conversation. Kata and Anaya feel that they haven't had a chance to explore. Also, Anaya says that the Casa guys are way more mature, which is in a way what Casey and Corbin were saying about the college versus high school, that whole thing. So I don't feel like it was that shady, to be fair. I just feel like the delivery was wrong, but the sentiment was the same. She said that she really likes Carl. Kenzie says that she wants Kata to give Che a chance. And I said that Kenzie was being real in this moment. Like those girls needed to open themselves up completely to the experience. Um, and even though I felt like she may not bring Che back, I feel like it was an important thing to note. And also, Alana had been dumped from the villa.
Finally, that's all I have to say. Because why was she on the screen that long? But that's what it is. It is what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So Corbin and Parmita. I don't know. I like I said during her time in Casa, I didn't mind Parmita. Um,
Kind of was like, she's kind of a bird, but kind of.
yeah, but all the Casa girls typically are.
The
Um,
only thing I didn't, and this is kind of leading into the postcard that they got. I don't know if I necessarily liked her reaction to the postcard because there was something that we kind of skipped over that Corbin had said to KC, but he was saying how he felt like Parmita and Tierra were gonna run the villa when they brought them
oh yeah.
back. And
Hmm.
I feel like that kind of tied into Parmita's reaction when like everyone got the postcard and seeing that Kenzie had moved
For sure.
on. Corbin was like, "Oh, I can't wait to bring you back," and she's like, "I'm so excited." And I feel like that came from a place of they thought they were better than Kenzie and Dylan, so they couldn't wait to like show
Sure.
off. So I didn't like that. That was my only
Yeah, I didn't
thing.
like that either. I'll be honest. I didn't like that. Yeah, I think all the Casa girls will always prove that there's a little bird in them. Some of them have had bigger birds than others, but everybody got a
I
little
feel like
bird.
it has to be a requirement at this point to be a closet girl. I'm sorry.
Be a
It
pixie,
they
be a
just
bird.
They just prove it every year. Every year.
Right. The desperation is literally like screaming.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, Dylan and Kinsey, they had a great conversation. I said that I like Dylan so far, and I loved her bikini. Like, sorry, that was such a side note, but the blue and the yellow, I thought that was so cute. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, Caleb and Jaden, green flags for each of them. Jaden feels like helping others is the green flag. Caleb said positive mindset, green flag. I was like, they both seem like chill people, so I don't see why they wouldn't couple up at this point. We see later that they did. Um, Amora and Sincere, they talk about like some hidden talents that they have. Amora says baton twirling and Sincere knows sign language because it was his minor. This conversation is funny. I just
Yeah, they're not serious at all.
at all, at all.
Honestly, I got to a point where I was skipping over their scenes because I'm like, they're not talking about
Girl,
anything,
I
and I
don't
already
blame
know.
you.
I just knew he wasn't bringing her back. That was
No,
given to
literally.
me. So I was skipping over it. I'm
Um,
like, this is a waste of time.
then it was Mel and Corey. They talked about love languages for Melanie's active service. Corey says it's physical touch. He's super affectionate. Um, and then I said I liked the combo. And I was just like, trust your gut about sincere. That's how I left that. And then Ronnie and Jen, I was like, basically Ronnie wants to explore. So Kenzie and Sincere, they were the ones that got the mail. Basically, each card had pictures of each couple, like basically with their new partners. Um, Kata like literally looked at the picture of Zach and like sobbed and fell over. She felt like really dumb, and I felt really bad for her, just because she
Yeah.
hadn't really done anything at that point physical with anyone else. I said Trinity standing on business. Anaya was clearly angry, and went to like basically cry alone. And it was nice that Kenzie checked on her. I think, okay, I just have to say this really fast. I think Anaya was more upset that like of what who the girl was and less of like what the picture was. I don't know. It didn't really give. She was upset with the action. She was more upset with like who she was replaced with.
Well, the
Um,
thing is, she can't really be upset with the action because she kissed Carl too.
it's true.
So,
Yeah.
like, you can't really be upset about that because that would be hypocritical.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I said, Kenzie's definitely over these men. Melanie is crying and saying like she's being delusional about Sincere. That had me
Right.
laughing. No shade.
She was trying to say that Sincere was kissing in a challenge. Like, girl, he's on a couch. His
Girl,
hair is
right. He's in
completely
he's in like
different.
the speakeasy of Casa More. Like, please.
Right. Like, Melanie,
Um,
get it together. Sincere is kissing a girl outside of
literally.
challenge. He does this
Yes,
every time. Come
right.
on.
Okay, so then the men, like I said, they got similar pictures with the girls and the new couples. Zach seems very scared. Corbin doesn't care at all. I feel like the Casa
Corbin was
Boys,
excited. He was like,
yeah,
yeah, she's moved on. I'm happy for her. I'm with
literally,
Carmita. Let's go. Like, that's what it
right.
was giving.
Um, the Casa Boys, I feel like they're always the emotional support in these moments. Like, everyone's everyone's just doing their part. KC is mad because Anaya isn't as affectionate with him as she appears in the photo with Carl. Um, what is there to say?
There's literally nothing to say because Anaya has been just as affectionate. Casey, he will literally say anything at this point just to bring Anaya down. It's so sad. It's so sad to
um,
watch. It's so sad.
Sincere is in his head. Bryce is in his head. Um, and
Wait, I do have to go back to Sincere though, because Melanie's not even kissing anyone, and Sincere still has something to say about what Melanie's doing. He's like, I would have rather
literally,
got a picture of her kissing than the picture that I got. Are we dumb? Sincere, please. I was like, are you serious? You're the last person who should be talking. The last.
weirdo.
The
Yeah.
last person.
I was very sick for the girls. I felt like, they were just having like their worst day, as they do every year. If they do send the photos, it's typically this bad. They did it in season 6, and it was the same emotional distress. So I didn't expect anything less. Um,
Yeah,
on top of the fact that the men are pretty much garbage. So, you know,
there's
there's,
that.
you know,
And they don't even know what's being said. They can only go by what they saw. So they don't even know half. of the things that went on and half of the things that were said, which I think was way worse than anything they could have done. Like what they said was way worse.
literally.
So yeah.
Um, yeah, so at this point, I was basically begging all the girls to bring someone back. Casey said, like, he doesn't care. Someone, I can't remember who it was right now, but someone asked him, one of the guys was like, how do you feel about Anaya in the picture? And he said he doesn't
I
care.
think it was Caleb
Okay.
because they were
Uh,
all in the room
yeah, I
at
was like, I
that
don't
point.
remember. Yes. And he says he doesn't care about Anaya or what she's doing because he says he spoke life into her every day. I have something to say about this, but I'm going to save all of this for the Casa recoupling. Okay, I'm putting a pin in that. Putting a pin in that. Because I got a lot of notes for that. Anaya, Mel, and Kata, they had a conversation. Basically, Mel was like, "The boys are not moping around like this." And I said, I think Mel is all talk because she was basically saying like, let's all like cuddle with these guys and let's do all this stuff. And I'm like, I want to have faith in her, but at the end of the day, I really think she's all bark, no bite. And that was proven to me at the end of the week. So, there we go.
There we
Um,
go.
because I think it's always harder. I put this in my notes as well. I think it's always harder when the girls actually see the men standing there, whether they're alone or with someone, because your feelings about them are with you standing there. So it's definitely right. Um, I also think that Anaya likes her chats with Carl, but I also think the girls compliment him more than she does. Um,
Yeah,
Observation.
I think she has had a lot more time with Casey, obviously, so she probably feels stronger about that connection up until this point. And I definitely saw that because a lot of people were
Yeah.
so convinced that Anaya was bringing back Carl. And I remember telling Samaya, I'm like, I'm 70% thinking that she's she's not going to.
I was so confident. I'm gonna get there, but I was so confident.
I
Um,
I just didn't have the feeling like after she had gone into the photo booth and cried, I was like, I don't think. I think she likes Casey way more than I thought she did. Cause like I knew she liked him, but I didn't know she liked him that much, you know? Like cause they were always it was like always I don't know. I don't know.
that's why, okay, I'm basically gonna piggyback off what you said when we get to the recoupling because that's why I said I have so many thoughts about all of that. There's so much to unpack with that. But anyway, um, between Che and Kata is very focused on Zach. Um, Jen and Ronnie, they kissed. That was random. Sincere is unsure as usual about Melanie and Amora. I said blah blah blah. Um, and then Bryce shared that nice statement about love. I thought that was very nice.
Yeah.
I think he was sitting with Sincere. That was nice.
Yeah,
Um,
because at this point he had seen Corey and Trinity kissing in the photo booth. Obviously, he had his insecurities about it because of Corey and who he was, like, because that was Trinity's normal type. But the fact that he was like, I'm not going to do this tit for tat thing, I'm just going to trust my gut and go for it. I'm like, I have to commend you because I don't feel like if any of the other guys had been in his position, I don't think they would have done the same thing. I'm going to be
Probably
honest.
not. Probably
Yeah.
not. But anyway, um, Carl and Anaya. Yeah, you could just tell throughout the week Anaya is definitely conflicted. Mel and Corey, when the girls went up the stairs, it was such a PBG moment for me. But when the girls went up the stairs and they were saying like to kiss Corey or whatever, I was like, they literally read my mind. I was like, Melanie, just do it for the plot, man. You don't have to even bring the man back. Although I want you to, just do something for the plot. Like at that point, that's how I was feeling.
And she didn't
Um,
even end up doing it that night.
she didn't, and I was upset. Um, and also, I just want to say this is just a final note because it's something that I peeped. I think I told you about it too when we talked before, but Casey was definitely bothered by the photo. It may not be for all the right reasons, but he was bothered for sure.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
like he was. And I think a lot of people, like I saw before the episode even aired, they were like, "Oh, Casey like probably doesn't even care and like probably isn't going to be bothered by anything." To be fair, they didn't really show them a lot in the first look. Um, anyway, but people were like taking screenshots of his face and they were like, "Oh, maybe he's upset." Whatever. I was like, "Y'all, he's probably upset." Just saying. Um, I
He
don't know if it's
definitely
for the
was.
yeah, I don't know if it's for the reasons that everyone wants it to be for, but at the end of the day, he was upset.
It's not
So let
even about Carl and Anaya, but we can get into that. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with that. I don't think it does. But that's
um
just my opinion.
uh so anyway, we're at the Casa recoupling day, y'all. Woo!
This by far was the best recoupling I've seen in a while. Like this was the episode of the season for me. It was so good. It was everything and more. I'm sorry. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
I liked the first half. I don't know if I liked the second half. I think I started cringing, and I'm going to get into why. But and really, it's more or less because I think I'm a little bit. I think we talked about this too, but I'm a little bit desensitized from some of this at this point. The things that people are saying and stuff, I'm just a little bit like, especially the men. I'm just like, whatever. Anyway, it was a good episode though for the season. I won't lie. It was a good episode.
It
Um,
was really good. It was so good.
um,
I don't have much to say about the first half. I skipped through
should
it.
we just go? Should we just get into it? Because I
Well,
have a
the first
lot.
half of the episode was just them like basically building up to the recoupling, which I
Yeah.
feel like I went and watched it back too. I feel like it was just kind of same stuff, different day.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I
why
was,
I'm like, let's
it's
just
like
hop right in to the
yeah,
recoupling. All right, y'all. So this is like because this episode just aired, I'm probably the most like upset still about it. But anyway, all the other episodes, I'm just kind of like, it is what it is. So anyway, the recoupling. So, I didn't do it in the order because I just wrote down the names really quickly so that way I could remember everybody that I needed to include. Do you
yeah.
remember who went first? I think it was Caleb
It
and
was
Jen.
Jen and Caleb because
Okay.
they were both single. So
All
Jen
right.
decided to couple up with Gaul, which we knew that was going to happen. And Caleb brought back Jaden, which we also knew was going to happen.
Right.
Because, like,
Shocker.
shocker, plot twist. I will say the things that I liked about their recoupling was I think it was very cute how the girls cheered on Caleb and Jaden
That
when they
was so
walked in. That
precious.
was
That
very
was so
sweet.
cute.
And that just proves that they were ready to be nice and like they were ready to welcome in the Casa girls regardless of what happened. Like it wasn't
No,
even about the
literally.
girls, it was about the men. That's all I like. And I just think I'm glad Caleb was able to find someone because I think they made the right decision in keeping him
Hmm.
because I think he deserved to find someone. I just don't know if this is the show for him because he's not willing to fight for his connection sometimes.
I
Like,
know. They
but
honestly, Caleb could have come like on the end half of the show of Bombshells, and I just would have been like, all right,
I
wrap it
think
up.
he came when he needed to because there's no way he was getting anyone in the end. If he
I
came,
know.
like,
That
yeah,
goes
I
for
think,
everyone though.
right. I think he came when he needed
I
to.
don't even
But
know why they send bombshells in for real after Costin normally. But anyway,
yeah,
um,
that was
it's
cute.
normally yeah, I thought I liked that too. And Jen, I'm so happy that she got to pick first because she got to pick Gaul. I didn't think Kenzie was gonna necessarily pick Gaul, but I didn't even
I
want the
didn't think
thought to
so
enter her
either.
mind. I didn't want the thought to enter her mind. Um,
Yeah. Like Kenzie
uh,
and Corbin went next.
that's what I
And
thought. So
yeah,
Kenzie goes with Dylan. I said clock at Kinsey because she was definitely coming after Corbin after the things she said, thought they were all valid.
and poor
Um,
Caleb just had to sit there and kind of take it because, like, Ariana was like, yeah, the girls saw everything you did. And Caleb was like, oh, I didn't know about a video. Mind you, he has nothing to be ashamed about because he didn't do anything
not
wrong.
at all.
But I felt like he felt like kind of in the hot seat a little bit.
Right. And Corbin, he did come in, he recoupled with Parmita. The
The
girls were
girls,
booing.
they booed him as soon as he
This was the
walked through the
funniest part of
door.
that entire recoupling.
No,
I'm sorry. Like,
no, when Kata did that, I was like, oh, it's taken off.
literally, I was like, and
It's-
we kicked off the
right.
recoupling now.
It went from 0 to 100, and it was like it was a tag team from every girl. Every girl jumped in.
Caleb and Jen were like a commercial break.
No, literally, they
You
were
know what
like,
I'm
oh,
saying?
no, it literally went from 0 to 100. No shade.
Right. And Ariana asked, she said, Ariana was funny during this recoupling, but anyway, She asked how they were doing and everything, and Permita said, you know, I feel confident. Um, and I feel like the OG girls were definitely on her because of some of the things that she was kind of saying about their connection, even when they sat down. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't even blame them because the way that Corbin and Parmita came in, they were already coming in like they were better than everyone, that they had something to prove about their relationship.
you
And
mean Corbin and Permita?
yeah, what did I say?
Caleb.
Sorry, I do this every time. I'm sorry. There's too many. There,
Too
I
many
get
K's and C's.
there's
I
too many
know.
K's and C's. But yeah, Corbin and Parmita already came in feeling some type of way. So she was on
Mhm.
her high horse. And
For
I
real.
already knew once he said that they were going to run the villa, I'm like, you must not know the OG girls because they're not like that. Like they get down to business. And I feel like some of the things that it wasn't even about their relationship, Corbin and Parmita. It was about the fact that Corbin was being disrespectful towards Kenzie. That's all it was. And
Mhm.
Parmita was defending him for the comment. She's like, I was there. Like he didn't say that. Babe, you didn't hear it.
Right.
You didn't hear what
Literally.
he was saying. You weren't with him 24/7. So you
Right.
can't even defend him for that. It's not about you and
And
him.
Kato
It's
was
about
funny. She said, "Oh, you were with it."
yeah, you were there. Like, girl, okay, like, no, it's not
So
about
funny.
you and him. It's about him and what he said. If you would have just came in and let him take his lashings, that would have been it. Like, I get you trying to
For
defend your
real.
man and whatnot, but it's not your fight to fight. No one was coming for you until you open your mouth. But anyways,
Anyway, Kata and Zach. Kata decides to stick with Zach. First bird down.
first bird down,
Uh,
professor of the University of
right.
Birdism.
Literally. Homeroom teacher. She clocked him, but it kind of was a mute point because she still decided to couple up with him. I will say Trinity's side commentary at this point was funny to me. But anyway, because I knew she wouldn't pick Che. Uh,
I knew she wasn't going to either, but a part of me still had hope after the way she reacted to the postcard yesterday.
Yeah, I think I was hopeful, but I think we feel the same, but like about like you know how you said with Anaya, you felt like when she was in the was when she was in the photo booth, like that's kind of when you knew. I felt the same with Kata, but just with her. Like it was kind of like she wasn't giving Shay the same energy. I do feel like
Yeah,
he deserved a little bit more energy from her, but you can only go so far with your feelings, you know what I mean? So it's not like I blamed Kata,
exactly.
but I just knew she wasn't gonna pick Shay.
Yeah.
Zach comes back and he's all, you know, everything's well in his world. He said, you know, he feels at home. He did look a little nervous, but I think like overall he got what he needed and wanted out of the situation. So it is what it is.
And they didn't come for him as bad. I will say that.
They did. They
They
didn't.
came for
Anyone that
him,
came back
but
single came like anyone that came back single other than Caleb was fine because I don't even feel like they did all that with Sincere. Melanie did all that with Sincere, but I feel like as a collective, they
I
weren't
feel like
all.
I feel like Melanie and Sincere is different. Because okay, we could just get into it because they were next. Melanie
Let's
obviously
get
chose
into
to
it.
stay with Sincere, and Sincere obviously did not bring Amora back. I feel like we all knew this was happening, okay? Like they do the same thing. They're in a toxic cycle. I think nobody said anything because how can we even defend Melanie at this point?
Bird
Like
number two down, y'all.
bird number, but Melanie is way worse because Sincere has given you multiple reasons and shown you this. Like it's not even doing like he's doing anything behind your back. Like you've seen everything go down with Soul. Even when he was talking to Kada in the beginning, like he's shown you multiple times that he is the way he is, and you just put up with it. And the problem is she clocked him, but at what cost? You still chose to couple up with him at the end of the day. It's
Yeah,
a moot
Melanie and
point.
Sincere decided to both stay single, and Ariana was definitely clocked in because she said, "Do you know him, Melanie?" And that's when she started like going on her tiff. And I feel like it was so unfair because Melanie and Anaya, I clocked in, I clocked all the way in, y'all. Both of them did the same exact same thing to the Costa Boys. They buttered them up and gave them all this praise, and then decided to choose their original couple. Because both girls took the same method. This is why I'm a little bit like, here we go. Melanie definitely was mad. Like she wasn't as comforting, but as soon as Sincere gave her that flower, I was like, here we go again. Like seriously, seriously. Um, I don't feel like Sincere's not a very argumentative person. I don't really feel like a
Yeah.
lot of the guys are, if I'm being very honest, but Sincere definitely not. So I feel like he was only going to say so much in that moment, especially because he didn't bring back Amora, and like they don't even know what Amora looks like for real. Like they don't really know like their vibe completely. So he could get away with more because in that moment, meaning like he could get away with saying less because in that moment he didn't even bring the girl back. So he brought her a
It,
flower. Everyone was like,
no
okay,
one, and the thing is, no one cares because at this point, Melanie's and Sincere are gonna do what they're gonna do regardless. Like, no one
all right.
is
So her
like,
slapback didn't even land.
it didn't land, and that was my last straw with her. Like, I can support you for you, but I'm not supporting you in this relationship. Like, I'm done. I will not. They will not be getting a single vote for me. From me, I'm not defending it anymore. Like, I'm literally done.
Oh
It's
yeah, I was done. I definitely, to add to your point, I was definitely done defending it like so long ago. I was fatigued week two. Like I was just like, there's
right.
nothing at this point that could save this whole relationship. Nothing. And that's just the bottom line. So anywho, what Trinity and Bryce get
Trinity
picked
and
up.
Bryce were after that.
Okay.
Honestly, we all knew that at this point they weren't bringing anybody back. I feel like Sydney in the beginning of the episode was trying to get to know Bryce a little more, but like at the end of the day, that was kind of irrelevant at this point. Like they're coming back the next day, so it wouldn't have worked anyways. But I honestly, they were so cute. First of all, them matching. That I people have pointed out that they're always matching when they're separated, like unironically, and like they they're so connected. Like the
Really?
yellow was cute.
The yellow
Um,
was cute, but they all kind of matched because no, and I'm not saying this like in a bad way, but like I think someone did like a collage that I saw, and it was like Bryce and Chinny were matching, Sincere and Melanie were matching. On the lowest of low, like Casey and Tierra were matching too. So like I don't know, the matching was cute, but like I wasn't as moved when that person tweeted that because then it kind of like took away my fantasy. But anyway,
I'm
it
still
was a cute
moved.
moment, right? It was a cute moment
I'm so
nonetheless.
moved because at the end of the day, that was to me the best part of this entire recoupling because we all knew this was gonna happen, and I don't know. I fought so hard for them this entire season because everyone wants to make a think piece about why the two of them don't like each other. And I feel like they continuously just choose each other. It was nice to see what they both had to say about each other while they were separated. It was just a really cute moment, and it took away from like all the drama. Like we needed that in
It
between
was a nice
everything else.
breather.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a nice breather.
it was just really cute.
Yeah,
And I'm just
I liked
glad
it
that my
too.
family's back together. That's all I have to say. Because this week was rough for the both of them, honestly.
It was
Like,
rough. It was rough,
yeah,
but I think I mean, I think I went into it with them thinking like they would choose each other anyway. So
yeah,
I wasn't like too surprised. But I definitely felt like um they both deserve happiness, and if that's with each other, then that's what I'm supporting, you know what I mean? So I just feel like
yeah,
the whole I have seen a lot of people say a lot of different theories about why they wouldn't like each other as well. And I think in general, right, we have to look at the grand scheme of things. I think everyone also is aware that they will likely win the show. So it's not like there's only so much you can say at this point because everyone else is like not doing great. So, you know,
yeah.
it's just like
I
it is
just
what it is.
I hate the think pieces because they do have a choice to not be together and they've continuously
Right.
chosen each other. So at this point, everyone can think what they want to think. I'm sticking with them regardless. Like there's
Right.
nothing we can say at this point, but
Yeah,
we can
like
move
it is
on.
what it is.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get ready to rumble. It's the main event. No shade to Bryce and Trinity because they were cute, but let's be honest.
No, this
Casey
was
and
definitely
I
the
went
most
last because they were the main event.
yeah, this was definitely where the most
So
drama erupted.
I literally don't know where to begin. Um, This
Well, let's just
episode,
begin with.
getting there.
Uh,
I'm getting,
oh, okay. Yeah, you want to
girl.
build up to it.
You know, I'm highly emotional. Um, so I feel like, all right. So Anaya, obviously, she stood up last. She went to Ariana. You know, she asked her what she wanted to do. Anaya chose to, she seemed to be conflicted in the moment, but she decided to stick with KC. She buttered Carl up, said how great he is, how perfect he is. She described Carl, right? She described his traits, his qualities, what she likes, what she dislikes. Man, I'm about to go into it, and I really feel like everyone is going to hate my opinion, but I'm literally going to say facts. I'm not going to say anything that's like that I'm necessarily agreeing or disagreeing. I'm just saying the facts of this whole journey with them because I still think they're highly incompatible, but I also think that there was a lot of underlying emotions this episode that I just feel like screams. And it started with Casey. He comes in with Tierra, you know, Ariana goes, you know, let's see what Casey decided to do. He comes in, he walks in with Tierra, and no shock, the public, we all knew he was going to come with Tierra. Same thing as Corbin and Caleb. Like we knew these three men were going to come with somebody. And Tierra was a wild card, and Bryce and Zach, you know, we knew, right? As far as the men are concerned, for the most part, we knew what they were going to do. So, basically, you know, it's kind of awkward. Um, the girls are like already starting, and Ariana asks Casey, you know, how he feels, and he kind of goes into it. You know, he's kind of like, um, he kind of mentions that him and Anaya, you know, they had a like decent connection, but he just felt stronger about TT. He mentions that they have more in common, all of that, right? Um, the Anaya is like heartbroken. To be honest, my heart literally shattered for her. It's very hard to watch all of this because she also doesn't even know half of what he said about her. So you know, all that's going on at the same time. Um, the girls start chiming in, and everyone is really mad for Anaya. Anaya mentions, I'm sorry, Casey mentions that like he never felt. I mean, in all to conclude, he never felt chosen. Um, he never felt like Anaya wanted him for real. He always felt insecure about the door thing. He never let her live that down. He resented her
Never,
because of it.
never.
Um,
Even though
and
she said herself that every day since then she picked him.
picked him, right? Which was very accurate. But now I'm about to get into the unpopular side of things that most people might not like what I say, but I'm saying what the facts are. And Naya also said, when she said her recoupling speech, she said, well, I want to couple up Casey because he reassures me, you know, he makes me feel good about myself, he pours into me, right? These are all things that we've heard Casey say, which means that that is the truth. That is something that came straight from Anaya's mouth. The public can't say anything about that, right? I think that there has been, um, I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know why, because it's not like the whole show is about Casey and Anaya, right? But there is some truth to whatever Casey said. I don't think it was right for him to pin the whole door thing on that girl because at the end of the day, everyone had to do what they had to do. But I do think that him saying like the reassurance aspect, Anaya, when she was describing Carl, I'm mentioning the differences for a reason. When she was describing Carl, she actually described Carl's traits and what she liked about Carl every time. Casey, she never did that. She said, well, Casey makes me feel reassured. Casey makes me feel you know, he hypes me up. He gives me, you know, reassurance, whatever, right? She never said anything that she actually liked about him. She never said like anything that she does for him. And I think that that started, and you know, I don't think Casey necessarily pinned that on her while they were in the villa. But I think when he got with TT, not saying she's any better, but I'm just saying, like, when he got with her, I think that there might have been a switch between like how TT was pouring into an KC and how Anaya was, which means that there's some truth to whatever Casey said. I think his insecurities really jumped out here. So I'm not saying Casey was right about everything because we all know he was not, and we all know that he's a very controversial human. But I will say that like Anaya, when she said like I chose you every time, that was completely valid because that was her argument. When Trinity and everybody started chiming in, they chimed in with their arguments. Okay. They chimed in with their own things with Casey. Now, in some ways, did it regard Anaya? Yes. But I also think that these conversations could have been had. I just feel like they could have been saved for like movie night. That's just me. I also feel like none of it was coming straight from Anaya. Like some of those girls were speaking for her, but I don't know if Anaya was necessarily feeling how they were feeling. Like when she said Bad Girls Club, I was like, that doesn't really sound like that would have come from you if Trinity didn't say well, all of her piece, right? I feel like Ariana, when the whole interrupting thing, because you know how that's been going around about like who interrupted who. Ariana, I rewatched the clip this morning because I honestly didn't really pay attention to all that, y'all. There was too much going on. Um, Ariana asked basically Casey how he felt, and he asked, or I'm sorry, she asked TT how she felt. TT started talking about like her experience and basically like how she felt about Casey and their connection and all that, right? Then it goes, wait, hold on, I have it written down. Wait now, because there was too much happening. I'm telling you. Um, so basically, it goes back to yeah, Ariana asked TT about her experience, and basically Trinity starts making like comments about whatever she's saying. Right? She's like, "It's only been 3 days." Blah 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 blah. Casey's talking about his experience, and she's like, "What?" Right? Kata was the one she said, "Can I say something?" Right? Ariana was talking. She said, "Can I say something?" Or I'm sorry, maybe TT was talking. One of them was talking, and
I
basically
think
she said, "Can I
Trinity
say?"
was the one who said, "Can I say
Yeah, yeah,
something?"
she
Not
did.
Kate.
She did.
Okay.
No, no, but I'm saying Kata is the one that gave her permission to speak, not Ariana. So she starts going right about Bryce and her connection and like what Casey said, and it was very like it was very weird in the moment because I feel like Trinity, although I don't think she was wrong for anything that she said, I don't feel like it was the right time. I feel like Anaya didn't really like after she said her piece about like pouring into and choosing Casey, the argument probably would have stopped there if I'm very honest, because after that, Trinity had so much to say and Anaya kind of just stood there. Um, I don't think things would have started to get as heated as it did if Trinity didn't chime in. Again, I don't think Trinity was wrong for what she said. I just don't think it was the right time. Like I would have rather that happen at like movie night or something. But
Honestly, I'm glad it happened last night. It made it that much more interesting. I'm gonna be honest because I feel like I get what you're saying, but personally, I think Casey deserved every whacking that he got. Regardless if it was warranted or not, I think he deserved it. Now, maybe Trinity was in the wrong for inserting herself. I personally feel like I don't think she was because I feel like it was a combination of things. It was a combination of what he said and also how he was treating Anaya at the end of the day. But I get what you're saying about how it probably would have ended if she hadn't have put her 2 cents in. But I think that's what made it all the more interesting because it would have been done
true.
and the
I mean, it
recoupling
was
would have
good
been over.
TV. It was good TV.
Yeah.
I just think that like their argument wasn't really that valid though. I'm gonna say that, but I'm saying it in the sense of when they said to Casey like, "Oh, so you got to know TT in 3 days." How would you guys have responded if Anaya had actually chosen Carl? Because it's the same timeline. I feel like the girls and Trinity was the one that encouraged those girls to pick somebody else. They just didn't. But I think that like that all would have gone very differently. They were trying to make it a point that like it's been such a short amount of time, but
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, Casey still stood on business as far as when he said he was bringing Tierra back, he brought her back. I'm not saying his commentary or anything that he's done during Casa is necessarily appropriate, nor is it necessary. But I think that in that moment, like the girls could only really be mad at themselves. It's not Casey's fault that Anaya didn't pick Carl. I didn't even really feel, and if I'm very honest, I didn't really feel that bad for that either. I did feel sad because I felt like this is embarrassing and I didn't want Anaya to end up in that situation. But I don't feel like I feel like the girls arguing that like it's only been a short amount of time. It's if Anaya had brought Carl back, then it would have been the same amount of time. And at that point, Carl um definitely felt sad for Anaya, which I thought was really sweet. But Anaya didn't pick Carl. So I feel like it led to these conversations that still needed to be had at the end of the day. But I feel like the girls would have had a very different perspective had Anaya picked Carl. Like I think the whole week they were
Yeah.
basically pumping up like, oh, I think you should like you need to bring Carl back. Basically the first day that they were there, everybody was like boosting that girl's head. Everyone, right? Because Kata, Melanie, everyone wanted everyone to move on, right? Pick somebody else. None of them did. But everybody's like all up Casey's butt because they're basically like, well, I don't know how you could have done this in 3 days. Listen, listen. If
I
we're
don't even
evening out
know
the
if that's like I get what you're saying. I don't even know if that's like really what it comes down to at the end of the day. I know that's what they said and like that's the argument that they made, but I'm just
right,
saying like if that really isn't the problem. The problem was that in every single one of their arguments, Anaya and KC, he was telling Anaya, I'm not wanting to explore. And he would go and tell the boys, I feel restricted by her. And then they
right.
would have a conversation. And then he would be like, no, I'm not feeling restricted, but I would have talked to Soul, stuff like that. It was just like, I think that's really what it came down to. It's just like, you're not being completely honest with your feelings. But I don't know if, like you said, the 3 day comment, it's like, okay, if she did pick Carl, it would have been the same thing. Like, that's not, it's like kind of a double standard in that sense. Um, but I don't
Yeah.
know if that,
I
like, it has nothing to do with him choosing Tierra, in my opinion. Like, that is irrelevant.
yeah,
Like,
like I really feel like I think that they were trying to make it a point because they made it a point for Corbin. But at the
yeah.
end of the day, like it's not wrong that they chose those other girls. It's also not wrong that they explored those other girls, especially if the girls in the villa did the same thing. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of, and at this point, they don't know what Casey has said either. So that's why I'm like, from what you know, it just sounds like you're mad at him for exploring, but that's not really the nitty gritty, you know? So yeah, all in all, hot take. I wasn't super like for all of the girls like ganging up on him. I liked it more when it was Corbin, but when it was Casey, it felt a little bit like over the top. No shade. Um, just a little bit. I just feel like some of those conversations could have been saved for a different time. That's just me. But all in all, good episode.
So, okay, just like the final thoughts on the recoupling, I think in the grand scheme of things, I did feel bad for Anaya. I did feel I I don't know. Like I felt a little bad, but in the grand scheme of things, I really don't feel bad for any of the girls at this point, like the OGs. Well, especially Kate and Melanie, and honestly, right now Anaya too, because I feel like she was shown just enough to at least bring Carl back. It never had to be like, oh, you really like Carl, but I think she should have listened to the other girls, or at least she should have listened to Trinity. I think she should have brought Carl back just in case, you know? Because, like, I think
Yeah.
in her mind, I feel like there was some sort of intuition that she should have or could have had to know that Casey wasn't coming back alone. And I feel like everything that happened last night could have been prevented if she
Mm-hmm.
would have just brought back Carl. Now, I'm not saying I think Carl and I are endgame, by any means, I don't think that. And honestly, based off the way people are voting, we got to vote to see to bring back one of the Casa guys and one of the Casa girls who got dumped. So the options are for the girls, Amora and Sydney, and then for the guys, Che, Carl, Tori, and Ronnie. A lot of people have been voting for Carl to come back, specifically for Anaya. And then the girls, it is what it is. Like, I don't care out of the two of them who comes back. Like, either one
Yeah.
of them, they're not really going to add to the storyline. I did vote for Carl because I just really like Carl, but it wasn't like specifically for Anaya. I just really like him as a person. But I don't know if he does come back, if that's going to mean anything, just because I don't know, like you said, if she really liked him like that. But yeah, as far as the rest of the couples, I'm just kind of done with everyone except Brinity. I've been done with everyone for a while
Fair.
now.
Fair dues, man.
Yeah, so if you're asking, like, if anyone asked me if I felt bad for anyone last night, no, not really. I feel like they made the choices that they made. It's their bed, they have to lie in it now. That's kind of where I'm at with like all the couples and everyone at this point.
Yeah. Mhm. Um,
But oh yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I didn't know if you were done or not.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
you were done.
done.
Okay.
I was done. I didn't know if you were going to say anything, so I was just going to move on.
Um, uh, yeah, I would say to extend a little bit of what you said, in some ways, I do feel bad for Anaya. I think I'm more sad because she's the only one single in the villa. But production is always at play, and Carl will be back. So I did
Yeah.
not vote for Carl because I kind of knew he was going to come back because they want Anaya in the final. That is a fact. So I think I think production wants Anaya in the final because I think Anaya has enough of a fan base to pull that, and I think enough people root for them for her to at least be in there. Obviously, I don't think Anaya is winning, but I think that they want her to at least be in that lineup. Um, that's just my take on all of that. I feel like as far as final thoughts, I think I feel the worst for Anaya, but I don't feel bad in general. Um, I'm a little bit, this season has been a very hard watch for most people. And I feel like for me, I'm a little bit checked out,
Yeah.
just a little bit. I'm a little bit checked out. Like Brinity is all well and good, and I am happy about that. But I just feel like I'm a little bit checked out. I'm kind of just like, no one for me is like pulling me in. No one. Girls and guys. Like aside from everything that's gone on in Casa, I just don't feel like I'm watching for any specific reason at this point. And that's no shade to the girls. I think the core four that everybody loves and is rooting for, I think we're all in agreement that, you know, they're still great girls. But at the end of the day, like this show has not proven anything other than they've all have gone back to what they're used to, and there's nothing, you know, that's their decision. I don't have any smoke for them for it. I just don't feel bad. I'm not like,
Yeah.
I'm just at a point in the show personally where, um, as much as I wanted to feel bad for everyone, um, one, I think that time will come because I think movie night will make everyone feel bad for the girls. But also, I think there's not really much from this recoupling that I didn't expect as far as the back and forth. And don't really feel like um, I don't really feel like the girls, specifically Anaya, I don't know how much she likes Carl or doesn't like Carl, but if she likes him as much as she describes, I hope that like that works out for her. I did not vote for Carl, no shade to Carl, but I personally feel like I don't know if Anaya likes him that much. I think she likes the idea of Carl, but I think if Carl was in Casey's body at any point ever in life, at all, if he had any of those traits, I feel like she would pick Casey personally.
Yeah. Well, because that's her normal type, right? She's only been based
Yeah,
off of comment that her mom made. on someone's post.
Right.
She's only been with black guys. So
Right.
naturally, and this all goes back to like what Trinity and Bryce were saying, like you're naturally gonna want to go back to what you're comfortable with, what your type is. So yes, Carl is great. Carl has all of the characteristics that she wants, and maybe it's time for her to step outside of that,
Yeah,
outside of
and I
her
think
an
I think she did
original
a
type.
great job. Yeah, I think she did a great job like trying to attempt that during Casa More and like really trying to push herself out of her shell. Yes, she did bring up Casey a couple of times, but I do feel like um I mean, it's been 3 weeks versus 3 days. So that, there's a lot there. There's a lot of feelings that I think she didn't even know she was aware of, if I'm very honest. Because, like you said, I feel like no one, as far as the public, I don't think anyone really knew the extent of how much she liked him. I know Anaya is a lover girl, so I just feel like she just loves everyone anyway. But I just feel like she's just a sweet girl, and I think like that's just her personality. But as far as their compatibility, they have a lot in common. But Carl is a lot older than her. He might be at a different point in life than she's ready for, or not. We don't know, right? But I'm just saying, as far as my observation, Carl is very mature, as she's mentioned herself. And I feel like their connection for me, I'm just not someone to like ship people that quickly. But as far as like Casa Boys, especially, it's just a little harder because it's mid season. So you're kind of like in a groove and then you're like having to switch your mind. But I am in support of Anaya's happiness. And at the end of the day, I just want all the girls to feel good about themselves. So that's what I'm rooting for. I don't want to say I'm rooting for anything to like happen or anything like that at this point. Um, but I do know that there are different sides of social media and audiences as well that have different opinions about different things amongst all the girls, right? So Kata and Zach, Melanie and Sincere, Bryce and Trinity, right? Those are who we're looking at as far as like the starting lineup. Because honestly, I don't know about Kinsey and Dylan, and I definitely don't know about the rest of them. So I'm kind of like at this point, I think production wants Anaya to be in the final. That's kind of why I said that. Because I don't see any other reason for them to bring Carl back, especially because at this point, Casey knows and everyone there knows that like her knee jerk reaction was to pick Casey. So I'm a little bit like, I don't really know, but and I don't have like hopes one way or another. I just hope the girl's happy and like content with her experience when she leaves. And yeah, but I do have a meme.
I do as well. I'm
And
excited about this one. It's
I literally
actually,
picked this one today though because
I hope we didn't pick the
this
same
week was a little bit
one.
of a lot. You do?
I said I hope we didn't pick the same one.
Oh,
You can go first. I
okay.
have to pull mine up.
Okay, I do have mine up. Okay, so this is mine. Okay, so this is.
Oh, okay. We didn't pick the same one. That's good
Oh,
then.
good, good, good. Okay, crap. Okay, so this is Tier and Casey. I literally just saw this on X like maybe 15 minutes ago. And I was like, perfect. Will be my meme of the week because this was honestly the funniest thing that I've seen all day. So that's
No,
mine.
I did see that and that was hilarious. So I have a tweet and it's actually like a gift from the show this time. It's not just a random tweet. um, but it says when my friend doesn't like the pic we took, but that's none of my business because I look good AF. And it's
I think I
Melanie.
know what you're talking about. Let me see.
Wait, why does my phone do this every time?
I do not know, but I cannot see. Hold on. Yes, yes. I was gonna pick that one, but I lost it. Like I couldn't find it. But yes,
No, this was so funny.
that was
Melody throwing down the
hilarious.
postcard and then Anaya
And
picks it
I being
up.
like, wait, hold on
Like,
though, but I look good though.
she's used to Melanie's theatrics at this point.
She is. She said, "Girl, give me the postcard."
Right. Like, we
Yes,
have
I
bigger
did
fish to
see that
fry.
one. No,
Yeah,
I did
that
see
was
that one. That one
funny.
was funny. Yeah, I was like, that is so real because so many times I've been in those situations, and I'm like, that is true to me. So that's
No,
true to me.
literally. Like,
So,
me this whole episode, I'm like, I probably look so chopped. I'm so tired.
meanwhile, and I'm over here like, wow, but I look good though.
Well, anyways, I think this week was definitely long, definitely a lot of content to talk about.
Yeah, we
I'm
had like
excited.
9 or 10 different couples to talk about, so that's why this episode will probably be a lot longer. But
That's fine.
Hey,
I'm sure the last two episodes will be straight to the point. There's not going to be much to talk about after movie
right,
night, I
y'all,
feel
movie night
like.
is coming up.
Yeah, and I'm
Movie night's
excited for
coming
that.
up. So
I'm excited
I'm gonna
for
need
After
that
Sun.
ASAP.
Yeah,
Me too,
excited.
guys. They're exposing they're gonna drop some unseen
Unseen
clips,
footage.
which
So,
means right. So very excited about that. We'll definitely be tuned into that. Especially because
yeah,
they have all the people that were dumped as far as Costa and Moore, and then they're probably gonna bring back whoever was voted the most as far as one girl and one guy. Probably at some point
I think
eventually. I
that'll
don't
be
know how soon,
Sunday.
but
I think it's Sunday.
me too. I think they'll just throw
Um,
them back in there.
yeah,
But yeah, but they got to get out their what their takes as well as some footage that we didn't see. So and maybe we might get more insight into the connections and whatnots. So very excited for that. Very sad for that tonight. And yeah, this was a good episode. We unpacked a lot, but I really enjoyed it. I feel like this week got me like a little emotional and heated at the same time. But other than
yeah.
that,
This week
it
started
was
off
a good
fun and
episode.
it just went so downhill. Like, it went
The
so
spiral
downhill.
spiraled this week. Yeah.
Right. I was done with everyone by the end of the week. So, that's where
Yeah.
I'm
I
at.
was like, wrap it up. Yeah.
But,
But this was, oh,
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this was a great episode. We got into a lot of the nitty gritty and a lot of the issues and things, and good moments. There were a couple, so we got into some of those. But yes, it was a very highly emotional week, as Casa always is. I don't expect anything less when movie night comes, but nonetheless, movie night will be like a night or two. So that will be a little less, but it will be good probably as far as the
Yes,
entertainment. Um,
hopefully.
yeah. Uh, so yeah. Any last thoughts, Jordan?
No, I think we wrapped it up pretty good. I'm excited to see what comes from the rest of the season. We only have two episodes left after this,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
is exciting because we've done a lot this summer and this all has been fun. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of ready for this season to be over. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I
Yeah.
think we
Wrap it
know
up in a
who's
bow. Bring the
winning.
reunion.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I think we know
Wrap it
how
up in a
this is
bow.
gonna
It was cute.
end. It was
It was cute.
cute.
It was entertaining, but like that's it.
Right. But I think, yeah, that's all I
Yeah.
have to
Follow
say.
us on socials, y'all. We do post like clips of our episodes. So definitely check those out as well as go to like our links in our bios and there's some full podcast episode content there as well. So definitely check that out. Definitely like, subscribe, all the things. Definitely comment in our comment sections. We want to hear you guys' thoughts. But this has been fun.
Yes.
And yeah,
We
thank
will
you
see
guys.
you guys next week.
Yes. Bye, y'all.